Oh, good.
Even had Hornets logo on them.
Wow. Good. All right. Good. I'm glad. Then I think people feel as if it was worth it.
Yeah.
Casio said it was good.
So, John was blown away how much Roto knows. When he just starts going through the 4 deep of wide receivers of Arizona, John's just looking at me like, what in the...
John texted and said, he's got really good information. I said, well, it's kind of his job.
Oh, was John the dude sitting next to you?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, you left. He left. You kind of bolted right after I was going to introduce you, but...
Damn, I didn't realize...
And by the way, that John that you saw is about 100 pounds lighter than the John
you could have put you inside of John. He's lost over 100 pounds.
Wow, great for him.
Yeah. Hornung happy?
Yep, very.
Good.
I wanted to stay a little longer, but I was falling asleep while I was assembling the 7 yesterday, so I was like, I really need to go home.
Oh, you met baby Jules. Cool.
Mm-hmm. She called me lame.
Oh, man.
What are you drinking? Iced tea. That's lame.
Iced tea is
terrible. Well, he does that to drive 20 minutes home. Besides, on a Tuesday night, baby Jules, once we start, hooah! Can't believe it. I said to Casio, I go, next time, let us know. And he's like, no. I'm like, what are you talking about? Come on. I'm a little insulted.
I just looked at him and said, anything to get out of the house, huh, John?
Got that right. You got that right.
His line of the night, though, is, because Johnny started kindergarten. And he's like, takes the bus. I'm like, he does. He's, yep, mom cries every morning. Johnny, no problem. Mom, back to the house crying every morning.
I, of course, said to John, so, of course, she's going back to work, right?
That's funny.
Oh, it's hysterical. Raiders, Coffenbaugh, Paul, Spitz, AJC, all red. Look, man, people are raring to go.
Here we go.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you, getting over the hump for not just the week, but the month. How the heck are you? We're Miller and Moulton. This is the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Thanks so much for being with us on this Wednesday. Phil Steele, 2 hours from now. We'll do 2 segments with Phil Steele. This might be a good day to take in Miller and Moulton via twitch.tv because during the commercial break, in between segments, we're going to be firing questions at Phil. So we're going to do a continuous 30 minutes, but only about 24 of it's going to be on the radio. So you may want to check us out. Besides, you get to see our smiling faces.
When we smile.
Right. Like I'm staring at Mark right now.
with
Who's
a blank eating grin on his face.
how you doing?
I'm doing good. A great day, a great night last night. Had our fantasy football summit. Got to meet a lot of folks. Got to see a lot of people again for the first time in a while. Dr. Roto was great. Just a good night. Always enjoy getting out and seeing our listeners and meeting people that listen to the show and take us in all the different ways. So it was a great night.
By the way, you showed me right before the show color-coded cheat sheets he brought. My goodness, man. Everybody came prepared this time. I like it.
Good night. A lot of information.
You know what? It sounds like it'd be a good night for either a quesadilla or a patty melt.
Well, neither of those were on the menu. And you picked the menu. So I
did pick the menu. The quesadilla was on the menu that I picked. We even joked about it.
Now there was a burger, there was a chicken sandwich, there was a fish sandwich. There was wings.
It was supposed to be a quesadilla.
It's not a quesadilla.
There's a grilled chicken sandwich as well.
Yeah.
But listen, I saw a lot of people order the quesadilla.
Was there? I didn't see the quesadilla. I didn't eat, so it didn't matter to me.
No, you didn't eat. You didn't drink.
I did too. I had iced tea all night long. I was rocking.
Baby Jules in our Twitch chat room was apparently chastising you for not partaking.
Called me lame. What are you drinking? Iced tea. That's lame.
Good to see you too. So glad we could pull off another successful event. We'll keep doing these. I mean, hell, I told Roto, Doc, I want to take this show on the road. I want to do one in Port Charlotte, Tampa. All right. Lake City. Hell, we're negotiating with a couple other cities. I want to take a week and just have it be a road show. You know, Mark, I've always wanted the Miller and Moulton RV.
I play home games. You can do the road show. You like road games.
I
do.
Spend
most of your fall on the road playing road games. So I will let you handle the road portion of the show. I will handle the home portion of the show.
All right. Fair enough.
Get you an RV and let you loose.
Just, I want 1 week. I want a 1 week Miller and Moulton rental RV. Just want to tour the state.
What's the biggest vehicle you've ever driven?
Well,
like a box truck? I mean, have you driven a big RV?
No. I mean, I drove what I call a dump truck. I've driven a payloader. I've driven, a truck that you would carry asphalt in, but I've never driven a bus. I've never driven an RV. I've never driven an 18-wheeler. But if it's around a construction plant, and we're making concrete and whatever, I've driven it. That's probably the biggest, bulkiest thing I've ever driven. My father's parents, my grandfather worked for a concrete plant, and they actually lived on the property. They were the security. And so they literally lived for free, but they had to live on the property. And I mean, there's nothing quite like a small patch of grass surrounded by stone and sand and, railroad cars and dump trucks. I mean, it was scenic. It was glorious. Should have saw the rats. Biggest, I mean, honestly, New York City rats were like, man, those are big rats. I mean, I kid you not, they were so big. It was one of the reasons why my grandmother was able to use a gun so proficiently. She'd go, oh, we got to take care of that one. That one's too big. And she'd go outside and shoot it. Yeah.
Hunting rats.
Yep. You walked in the back door of my grandparents' place, and they just had the shotguns lined up. And some of them were in case if somebody showed up in the middle of the night who shouldn't have, and others were for the animals. Right.
I don't really have much for that. The rat hunting. I'll just kind of let that marinate the way that you left it, and we'll go from there.
But we'll say there were not a lot of fourth graders who had driven a payloader before, though. I mean, I was cool in grade school, Mark. I really was.
I could see, maybe that truck driving school is necessary for you because I could have seen you in an 18-wheeler.
Let me tell you. You know how I always said when they finally take us off the air, which could be Thursday for all we know, but I was going to do pizza delivery. That's right. My backup. You know what?
Backup, but you've done it before. You know it. You understand it, and you think you're good at it.
Well, I was good at it.
That's what I said.
But no, you said I think I'm good at it. It's one of the few things. I don't know if I'm good at sports radio. I know I'm good at pizza delivery.
See, and I know you're good at sports radio. I've never had you deliver me a pizza, so I really don't know.
Well, we make something happen tonight. Then I'll be there in 30 minutes or less. But you know what? Now I think I'm driving a truck of some kind. I don't know if it's going to be an 18-wheeler. I don't know if I'm going to do, UPS, FedEx, Amazon, or whatever. But I've come for what they're offering, and just I'm driving around. I'm looking, and I'm like, you know what? That's going to be the fallback. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to drive a vehicle of some kind, not DoorDash or something. No. I want a vehicle.
You'd be good. And I spent a lot of time as a minor league hockey radio broadcaster. You'd be good hauling the minor league hockey team in the RV. You don't need a lot of sleep. You can do the 10-hour trip without much of a problem.
I will say there's short a lot of
coach. You get the coach sitting up with you all night.
That's true. That's true. But there are times in which I don't want people talking to me while I'm driving. So, but it's true. I could be a team bus driver, but I'm thinking, we're short on teachers and we're short on bus drivers in the state of Florida. There's a part of me that's also thinking, maybe I drive a school bus. I'm just saying, that's the fallback. I'm going to drive. That's what I've decided. When the third act comes to an end, if it does in the next 10 years, because if we can go 10 more years, then, I think I can retire. Okay. But if they tap us on the shoulder before then and say, sorry, it's over, I think I'm going to drive.
David would be a great bus driver, a school bus driver, because if there's a fight in the back, between rows, he can just stand in the middle.
Totally.
There's nothing anyone can do about it.
He would be intimidating too. It wouldn't be like Otto Man who could, you could run his show. I think they'd be intimidated. They'd see that melon, they'd walk on the bus, and they'd be scared right from the word go.
There would be no tomfoolery on that bus.
Look at you going tomfoolery 9 minutes into the show. Did you ever have the parent who says, don't make me come in there? Kind of like mom or dad. If I get up from this chair, okay, somebody's going to be hurting. That's kind of how the school bus would be. Okay. I'd stand up and go, if I have to come to the back of the bus, somebody's going to be crying going home.
That would work well. You'd be employed for a day.
That's fine. I'd wear it like a badge of honor, and then I'd go drive the UPS van. I'd be fine.
Grab the kid by the scruff and kick him out of the bus.
Totally. Literally, it's like, come here, you're home. Because that's the other thing nowadays. When we went to school, it was just a spot. You had to walk to the spot. They dropped you off at a spot. Now, in Florida, they drop you off at your front door. I'd literally be grabbing the kid by the scruff of the neck, bringing him to the porch, knocking on the door and going, Johnny is a problem. And you need to make it go away by tomorrow. Got it?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I love the world. I love the alternative universe that David lives in.
Well, you know what I just realized during all this? I need to drive for a private school.
You're damn right, because at a public school, you've already been arrested twice, and we haven't even had the first class yet.
But private school, they make up their own rules. It's funny. As a child, I avoided Catholic school growing up. Now, as an adult, I apparently have to work for one.
Miller and Moulton, 21,000 the text line if you want to chime into the show. Great show lined up today. Phil Steele will join us on the show today, as will Seth Everett. Very excited to have our yearly chat with Phil Steele, the best college football preview magazine that there is. And Phil has donated precious time to us nearly every year now for quite a while to come on for a couple of segments, and he will do so this morning at 8 a.m.
So we'll wait about an hour, sometime during the 7 o'clock hour, whether it be at 21,000 or in the Twitch chat room. Fire away your questions that you want Phil to answer about your team. My first one is not even going to be about a team. I'm actually just going to ask Phil Steele, who makes his living talking and breaking down college football, to just ask him about college football. Simple question, Mark. Pretend you're Phil Steele for a second. I'm going to ask you the question I'm going to ask him. Are you bullish on the future of college football? Or do you think they've begun the process of going too far?
Yes.
See,
Is my answer to that, David.
I knew you were going to do that. I knew it. Poignant pause, smart ass answer. I knew it.
Because I think the sport will be just fine, but I'm not bullish on it. I don't want to, I don't think it's the beginning of the end. I think that they'll be just fine when it's all said and done. But how baseball was a national sport that became a regional sport, football was a regional sport, college football was a regional sport that they're trying to make national. I don't know if it ever can go back to being regional.
Oh, I actually think that it was national, and now they're trying to make it regional. I really do. I know the Big Ten's trying to expand, but I don't know. I actually think that they're shrinking it the way they're doing it now. I got very concerned. A national college football writer wrote a big piece yesterday saying that the next step with college football is that not only does it break away, that it basically forms a Premier League. And we're going to be down to like 28 teams. Oh, my goodness. I'm worried. I am. I'm worried. I'm not bullish on college football. Money does not equal success.
And, well, the colleges aren't running college football anymore.
Nope. Fox and ESPN are. And does anybody really think they have the best interest of college athletics in mind? They're a television company, for goodness sakes. What are they trying to do? Get eyeballs.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung has successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida for over 30 years. As a former prosecutor, the information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, a criminal matter, or involved in an auto accident, call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. I'm a local attorney with local knowledge to assist you through the process. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Offices in Fort Worth.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
20 years ago, Jason and I had the idea for a jewelry store like no other, with a vast selection of certified diamonds priced 8 to 12% over cost. A team of individuals who are educated, driven, and believe in cultivating relationships.
Today, we have become one of the largest independent jewelry stores in the country. Todd and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day, along with our GIA gemologists, master jewelers, custom designers, and non-commissioned diamond consultants, all of which we consider family.
As direct diamond importers, we travel the world, forging relationships and sourcing diamonds. What we love most about our business is that we can call Southwest Florida our home.
If selection, value, and comfort are important to you, give the Diamond District an opportunity. You won't find a better diamond buying experience. Todd and I look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Oh.
Jeff Melke came as well.
Wow. Has he got any big things going on?
I mean, the tip-off's a big thing. He's got some advisory board he asked me to sit on. I said, absolutely.
What's it about?
Sports tourism.
Totally. How time people put us to good use. Maybe FGCU will have you teach the communications class.
You good?
You taking something out of the tinfoil there?
My roast beef and cheese.
Oh, what? It is 6:18 in the morning.
Doesn't matter. Food is food. That whole what time you eat it is that's just the power of advertising and the mental block and all that.
I mean, listen, I love me a big breakfast.
Uh-huh. Right.
Yeah.
Breakfast is just the time of day.
Has nothing to do with the food.
Breakfast could be, I mean, think about what you can eat for breakfast.
So have you ever had like a slice of pizza for breakfast?
Yes.
Of course.
What's the matter with you?
I mean, I have too. I'm just asking. So when all the years that David was here in the studio, what is like the most obscene thing you've seen him bring in here to eat?
Fast food. Just his normal order.
Just normal McDonald's breakfast or something like that?
Well, we didn't do mornings when we were here.
Oh, that's right.
You don't understand. We'd tape interviews and one of us would drive to Wendy's to get food. We'd order pizza regularly to the studio.
Wow.
You got to remember, John was 120 pounds heavier than he is right now, the guy you saw last night.
Right.
I was every bit of this, if not more. We ate constantly.
And I've actually been 40 pounds heavier than I am now. So, yeah. We had a monologue one time and it made us a little cranky, apparently. And my wife called and said to John, feed him. Feed him. I can tell what the problem is. And John's like, well, the show started and what have you. And so my wife ordered like 2 meat lovers pizzas. They showed up a half hour later to the show.
Here we go.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes past the hour, and the magic numbers are getting small. 10 days away from Notre Dame in action in Ireland against Navy, USC in action. Week 0 of the college football season, 10 days away. Gators in Utah. UCF is a member of the Big 12. That happens in 15 nights, 2 weeks tomorrow. And heck, we're just 22 days away. Lions and Chiefs. Let's get this NFL thing started, shall we? Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Phil Steele at the top of the 8 o'clock hour. 2 segments bombarding him with college football Q&A. So come on now, answer the question seriously. I asked you, are you bullish on the future of college football? Okay. Or are you concerned that they're going too far? And you said yes.
I would lean that I'm concerned that they're going too far. I think that the super conferences are not good for the long-term success of the sport. I think you say it's getting more regional. There are regions that are just going to be neglected from now until the end of time. And I don't think that's the wise move.
I know it sounds crazy because the Big Ten literally goes from coast to coast, but there's a part of me that by the Pac-12 breaking up, that what waning interest there was from the Rockies West in major college football and major college sports, I actually think is going to get less. I think there was a better chance of creating more interest if they were all playing amongst themselves. And now that they've been broken up, I think it will lead to less interest. It could lead to more. It could lead to more. The folks in Arizona and Utah and what Colorado could find it cool to be going up against Texas schools and hell, a Florida school for that matter.
Well, and giving themselves a legit shot every year to make a playoff.
Yeah. I mean, maybe they feel now they'll have a better chance of making the playoff than they did when they were competing in the Pac-12. This could work out. I do think, once again, though, every single thing they are seemingly proposing outside of taking 4 and making it 12. I mean, before we've even had our first 12-team playoff, what are they doing? They're talking about having more at-large teams than conference champions. I mean, literally, God forbid we go 6-6. I mean, that would seem, we got what, 11 conferences that play major college football? Let's just have 6 conference champions, 6 at-larges. Go. 6 at-larges, that's a lot, right? Half the field made up of at-larges? What's wrong with that? Got a 12-team playoff. If you're the odd team out, I mean, are we really, come on. How many times are we banging the table for, a 4th place team in a conference? Or a 5th place team in a conference?
Well, David, you're right, and you're right. But Greg Sankey runs the sport right now, and he wants less conference champions in. And you know how this works. He's going to have less conference champions in. He started lobbying before these conferences even disintegrated.
I am curious what the network, because ultimately the networks are going to decide this. Sankey's going to have a strong recommendation. Petiti likely will go along with it. But the networks really will decide this. And they'll try to figure out whether or not they'll get more viewership if we add the 4th best team from the SEC or the Big Ten, as opposed to adding, pick a conference champion.
The AAC champ.
Yeah, and they'll probably decide that we'll get more viewers if we add the 4th best team from the SEC or the Big Ten. So we'll probably go in that direction. I don't know. It's not my preference. It's not like I can do anything about it. Although I do already feel myself, and maybe things will change, Mark, in 2 weeks when the games start, but I already feel myself pulling away.
And you and I are opposites here. This is where I guess I'm still a little bullish, is that no matter what happens, I am so excited to just watch. And maybe it's because when I quit on my alma mater because of things that happened at my school, I really lost my team and approached Saturday similarly to how I've always approached Sunday. Where's the best game? And I can't wait for the next best game, David.
Okay. Well, and in theory, we should get more of them on a weekly basis. I mean, that's what the networks are counting on. We put more good teams in the same conference. They can't avoid each other. And we'll get, quote, more good games. After all, what is this all about? It's all about television. That's all this is. This is a game show. Only instead of playing, for prizes and money, okay, they're playing for wins and losses. Oh, don't get me wrong. The contestants are getting paid now. I mean, they used to just get a lovely parting gift, which is, a year's supply of rice-a-roni, the San Francisco treat. But that's all this is. This is a television show. And it's more important of a television show than ever before. And I'm being very serious about this. Once again, nobody's watching these comedies and dramas on network television. Nobody. And that's when they were producing original programming. And what do we have right now? We have a strike. There's not going to be original network television programming unless they somehow, some way had episodes that were done before summer started, before late spring, which is possible in some cases, but they don't have whole seasons shot. And networks are literally going, are we going to run like the 6 episodes we have in the can and then potentially the strike's still going on? And then what? We got nothing? So, I mean, what are networks who are thirsting for more live sports? Now, I'm telling you, the timing for the Pac-12 in a way is shocking how bad it was. But yet, if it had gone on a little bit longer, like there's a part of me that's like, would a network have just said, we need program? Like if the Pac-12 football was available for this year, Mark, this fall, see, it's not. It's still under ESPN and Fox control for another year. If this Pac-12 TV deal in which a network could have gotten Pac-12 football to begin airing in 2 weeks, I'm telling you, they would have gotten a deal.
That's fascinating because I don't know if there's a network that would have given them one because there's only 2 that are running the sport. We keep talking about it. Would have NBC have jumped in? Maybe. Would CBS have jumped in? Maybe. Outside of that, you're talking CW and streaming. And
Turner. Or Turner. But that's all. Just a theory of mine. But Phil Steele to talk all things college football 90 minutes from now. Get your questions ready. We'll fire them at Phil Steele. Also about the future of the sport.
And obviously digging deep to all the Florida teams as well with Phil. I'm sure we'll travel to the Big Ten also. And, SEC and Big Ten. Is there any other conferences that we need to talk about even this year?
Oh, stop it. Stop it. Now you're just trying to get me riled up, aren't you? You're just really trying to honk me off. Don't make me pull the bus over and walk to the back of the bus, grab you by the scruff of the neck. Don't make me come back there.
Well, David, I am a Catholic school grad, so mom and dad would have just applauded you for whacking me upside the head on the bus. Even though mostly we carpooled, but all the other parents who drove me to school were allowed to whack me in the back of the head or grab me by the scruff at any point. So that's all fair game.
Apparently, I complained about Kenny Larson one too many nights at the dinner table, and my mother in the middle of dinner stopped and said, "Come with me." And we got in the car and we drove the 4 blocks to Kenny Larson's house, and she knocked on the front door and said to Mrs. Larson, "Hi, you've never met me, but our kids need to fight this out because I'm tired of listening to my son." And Mrs. Larson said, "Okay," and yelled, "Kenny, get down here." And when Kenny got to the bottom of the steps, she said, "You need to fight David. I'm tired of listening to you too."
Any bets made?
No bets. Okay. Although we did pound each other on their front lawn for about 5 minutes.
Well, it's not 5 minutes, but it's the starting 5, and it's next on Miller and Moulton.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here. Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Ambient, we'll ask Phil about the Buffs.
Oh, you had a shot there. That's not a very good cross, young lady.
England, Australia,
Yes.
scoreless.
Yes.
Roast beef and cheese, Feeney.
It's what for lunch in most households.
Right. Loading up in the morning. Have an appointment at lunch. I don't know about that, Feeney. I will say, though, the roast beef feels... I cannot tell you the last time I've had roast beef. And it just... one of those when you're something you like and you haven't had it in a while, and you have it, it just tastes so damn good. I mean, this isn't even boar's head. That feels good. All right, I'm done. School's still going well?
What's that? Are you done crinkling papers yet?
Yeah. School's still going well?
Yeah.
Maddie? So, Ambient, had you paid for Apple Plus before last night? Now, I have Apple Plus. Does that mean I can get it like at the top, or do I have to pay extra?
You need Apple TV Plus, and then there's an MLS package that you need to get on top of having Apple TV Plus.
Gotcha. So just clicking on the MLS isn't going to be enough.
Right.
Gotcha. Yeah, well, I'm not paying for it then.
It's okay. I don't blame you. I'll tell you, my parents are fully invested into Inter Miami now.
Wow.
They love it. My dad loves Messi.
I am just now watching Ted Lasso for the first time, and I'm on season 3 with Zava. And I sort of feel like Messi with Inter Miami is Zava with Richmond.
Just a lot less selfish and more humble. Well, that's the thing. Zava is,
And it's
quote,
1-0
unquote, humble.
England.
Oh my gosh.
What are we in, like the 35th minute or something?
You're exactly
Damn,
right.
you are on the. Well, I mean, the game started like.
Exactly. I just looked at the time.
Wow, look at that. Games starting at the times they're supposed to start. And take notes, NBA.
Oh.
You know, this is interesting. England's very well could win. They're favored to win the Women's World Cup.
We're coming back.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes before the hour. Thanks so much for being with us as we get over the hump together for not just the week, but the month. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Phil Steele, top of our 8 o'clock hour, 2 segments with Phil, all things college football. Seth Everett 2 hours from now. Right now, it is time for
The Starting Five. 5 stories you need to know. It's the Starting Five on Miller and Moulton. Here's number 1.
It's not this way. It just feels this way. Another day, another Tommy John surgery for the Rays. Shane McClanahan, the Southwest Florida product, the pride of South Florida Bulls, who was in line to start the All-Star game at midseason and was on his way to winning the Cy Young. And then, well, he got hurt. Tried to pitch through injury for a month or so, and it turns out he's going to need Tommy John surgery. And the talented lefty likely not to pitch again before 2025. Takes a minimum of 12 months, but oftentimes they think 15 to 18. And obviously with him having the surgery a year from now, do the math. So Shane McClanahan likely out until 2025. There's more information coming out of the Dominican Republic. One piece of information is good if you're on the side of Wander Franco. That the complaint, according to sources from the family online over the weekend, Wander and this underage girl first got together when they were both underage. And that once he was approaching legal age, he stopped having anything to do with the girl in the family. And that the girl in the family are extorting him. That's one part of the story. The other part of the story is not good for Wander Franco. And that's there's another girl or two and families or two that he is linked to, and one of those families actually filed a criminal complaint a short time ago. So good news, bad news, so to speak, on the Wander Franco front, according to 2 different reports coming out of the Dominican Republic. The DR and Major League Baseball say they are both conducting investigations to find out what the truth is. Mark, you seem to have a question.
Well, he's 22.
Right. Apparently there's a 4-year, like 4 years and a couple months. So I think he was 16, she was 12, technically.
Okay.
Okay. And just before that's what the report said. The report said before the legal age in the DR 17. All right. And the one story coming out of the DR was that he had nothing to do with this girl and family when he was 17 years old. Now that's, criminally.
Right.
that doesn't mean morally, that doesn't mean people might be, because remember, Trevor Bauer was ultimately never charged. And yet the Dodgers were able to put him on a suspended list for a year and a third and not pay him. And then he's essentially been blackballed from Major League Baseball. He was never charged with a crime. There were allegations. They were investigated. The local district attorney in Southern California never filed charges. And yet we're never going to see Trevor Bauer again. So Major League Baseball can discipline Wander Franco whether there are charges or not. And remember, 5 years ago, and the story actually broke in Southwest Florida, you had the Pirates all-star closer, was it Vasquez? Okay, and all of a sudden that there was a story came out that he was linked to an underage girl, and he actually was not only charged but pled guilty, and he's in prison. And obviously we're never going to see him again. So, by the way, on the field, the Rays only had 3 hits, and the Giants beat them 7-0. Tampa Bay remains 3 back of the Orioles, who finally lost a game. Padres scored 5 in the first. Gary Sanchez with a slam. Jack Flaherty had a rough start for the O's. 3 innings, 7 runs, 10-3 San Diego. Toronto, with the bases loaded, hit by pitch in the 8th, edged the Phillies 2-1. Third loss in a row for the Phils. Toronto still has a 2-game lead for the last wild card in the American League. The Yankees are 500. They lost to the Braves 5-0. They had 1 hit. Ozuna with a 3-run homer in the first basically won the game for Atlanta. Acuna, a 2-run homer later on to essentially ice it. Mark, the Yankees are 500 in mid-August. The last time the Yankees were 500 this late in the season, are you ready? Jeter was a rookie. Bill Clinton was in his first term. eBay didn't exist. Google didn't exist. Tupac was alive. Anthony Volpe wasn't born yet.
And it could get worse in New York.
The Mets are the worst $400 million team of all time, and yet in New York, the Yankees are having a worse season. Yankees they're so far back now. I don't even know if I just, we want to talk about them as serious wild card contenders. Red Sox still are, however. They beat Washington 5-4. They remain 3 back at Toronto in the wild card chase. The Mariners blew a 7-0 lead. Second night in a row, they gave up a bunch of runs in the 9th. They gave up 3 in the 9th. It forced them to go extra innings where they beat the Royals 10-8. Remember, the Mariners traded their closer at the trade deadline. Why you're in contention and you trade your closer, I have no idea. But they've blown back-to-back saves in the 9th. Win 1, lose 1. They remain 2 back of the Jays. The Marlins jumped out to a 3-0 lead, but could not hold off the Astros, who hit 3 homers. That man, Kyle Tucker, did it again. Solo shot in the 7th proved to be the difference. 6-5 Astros. Miami, however, Mark, still the 6th seed. Why? Reds lost to the Guardians 3-0. Cubs lost to the White Sox 5-3. So Miami still with a 1-game lead for the final playoff spot in the National League. Cubs and Reds both 3.5 back of the Brewers, who lost to the Dodgers 6-2. That's 9 in a row for the Dodgers. Brewers had just 2 hits last night. The Guardians won, as we mentioned earlier, but so did the Twins. They scored 5 in the 6th. Matt Wallner with a grand slam. 5-3 Twins over the Tigers. Miguel Cabrera hit his 509th home run. Ties him with Gary Sheffield for like 26th place on the all-time home run list.
I believe it was his 2nd of the year.
It was. But he's now reaching, top 20 in hits, RBIs. He's 26th in homers. I think Mel Ott's at 5'11". I think he's at 5'09" if he can get there. Texas, by the way, continues to lead the West by 3.5. They beat the Angels 7-3. Kyle Seager with 2 homers. The Angels are 3 below 500. They're 8 back in the wild card.
And Texas scores 7 runs or more every single night, it seems.
Remember the night before, Colorado scored 4 runs late to beat Arizona? Well, Arizona returned the favor. They scored 5 in the ninth to beat Colorado 8-5. They're 2.5 behind the Marlins for the wild card. Cardinals with 4 in the first beat the A's 6-2. Pirates with 6 in the seventh beat the Mets 7-4. Anthony Richardson named the starting quarterback of the Colts. He responded by saying, quote, "I'm shocked," unquote. Well, that should give you confidence heading into the season. Wait, I'm the starter? Are you serious? 8th straight year, the Colts are having a different opening day starting quarterback. All because Andrew Luck retired. He should still be the quarterback.
Yes, he should.
I mean, honestly, what's he, 33, 34 years old? He should still be their quarterback. 8th year in a row. Think about that. Obama was president when this streak started. How long ago does that feel? The Tuohys. You remember the family that adopted or welcomed into their house or legally, whatever it is they did with Michael Orr? Yeah, they responded yesterday. They said, yeah, he's threatened this shakedown on us many times over the years, but he could never get a lawyer once they reviewed the facts to agree to take on the case. Guess he finally got a lawyer to agree to take on the case. Just to let you know, Michael Orr was trying to shake us down for $15 million. And he's just doing this now. Why? Because he's got a book tour. So, and they said, by the way, you want to see the documents? We'll show you any damn document you want. By the way, we all shared the money financially from the movie. In fact, we just put money in conservatorship for his son just the other day. But no, really, say as many bad things about us as you want. Michael Orr reportedly wants to end the guardianship, and apparently the Tuohys said, fine, you want to cut ties with us? We're fine with that. So that's where this relationship's gotten to in the last 2 days. How are you guys doing? Everything okay at home? College football news, nothing on realignment. So Florida State and Clemson have at least 2 more years in the ACC, whether they're happy about it or not. There is a report out there that you got the Pac-4, you got most of the teams in the AAC, and you got 3 or 4 Mountain West teams that are considering forming a 16-team PAC. That would be PAAC. What they're doing there? Huh? Remember, Florida Atlantic and South Florida would be in this 16-team league. This league is looking to create a league that's good enough to keep, quote, Power 5 status.
It's the PAC.
But if they pulled it off, the Bulls and the Owls would both be in a Power 5.
Right.
We'll see what happens. One other college football note. Did you see the uniforms and the helmets that the Gators are going to wear the first Saturday in November?
Can I ask you just a really simple question?
Yeah.
What colors are the Florida Gators?
Not black.
Thank you.
Right.
That's the only thing. And Florida fan out there, 21,000, Twitch chat room. There are a ton of Gator fans out there. You are a loyal bunch. I just want a thumbs up, thumbs down for this black uniform scheme. That's all.
I think it's hideous. Absolutely hideous. You know my criteria for uniforms. If I turn on the TV and I'm at the game and I can't figure out who's playing, it's a bad uniform choice. England leads Australia 1-0 at the half in a women's semifinal of the World Cup. Winner to face Spain in the final. Another game for Messi, another goal. That's 9 goals in 6 games. Philadelphia apparently had lost once in the last 2 years at home. Inter Miami beat them 4-1. This is the worst team in the MLS. They're 6-0 in this midseason tournament. They're going to play in the League Cup final, I think, at home this weekend. The NBA announced their midseason tournament yesterday. 6 5-team pods. The Heat are in a pod with the Knicks, the Bucks, Washington, and Charlotte. Orlando's in a pod with Boston, Brooklyn, Toronto, and Chicago. Full NBA schedule gets released tomorrow afternoon. NHL, Wings acquired Jeff Petrie from Montreal. Canes, that $300 million check. Well, then they decided they'd stay in Raleigh for another 20 years. It's funny. Basically, they were bought off. $15 million a year. And Bob Baughan died. It's been a rough week for Toronto. They lost a 21-year-old first-round draft pick 2 days ago. He died of cancer. And 86-year-old Bob Baughan, who led the Leafs to 4 Stanley Cups. One of them, he broke his leg in Game 6 of the 64 finals. Went into the locker room. They froze the leg. He came back out, scored the game-winning goal in overtime, and then played in Game 7 when they won the Cup. I got your load management right here. 86-year-old Bob Baughan died. And the Bucks and the Jets are going to have a joint practice today. They were supposed to have a joint practice today and tomorrow. The Jets have already canceled tomorrow's practice. Apparently, the Jets defense kicked the tar out of the Jets offense at practice yesterday. So Saleh and company trying to limit the damage. And at 7 minutes before the hour, that was
the Starting Five every weekday morning at this time on Miller and Moulton.
Somehow I have a feeling we're going to hear about Messi and the goal that he scored coming up in a little bit. I just have a feeling.
I think that's a pretty solid feeling. Miller and Moulton. Phil Steele. In a little more than an hour, Seth Everett to join us on the show as well. We thank you so much for listening right here on the Florida Sports Network.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
20 years ago, Jason and I had the idea for a jewelry store like no other, with a vast selection of certified diamonds priced 8 to 12% over cost. A team of individuals who are educated, driven, and believe in cultivating relationships.
Today, we have become one of the largest independent jewelry stores in the country. Todd and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day, along with our GIA gemologists, master jewelers, custom designers, and non-commissioned diamond consultants, all of which we consider family.
As direct diamond importers, we travel the world, forging relationships and sourcing diamonds. What we love most about our business is that we can call Southwest Florida our home.
If selection, value, and comfort are important to you, give the Diamond District an opportunity. You won't find a better diamond buying experience. Todd and I look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Jay Gunn, you're right. They all have black jerseys. You know who doesn't have black jerseys? Alabama, Penn State, Michigan, Notre Dame. So if you want to be in the group with the elite, be in the group with the elite. If you want to be in the group with everybody, be in the group with everybody. And if I'm old, get off my lawn guy, then so be it. I don't like him.
Yeah, I don't like him. And I know, run the risk of sounding a certain way, but I
saw the comments too, Adam. I don't know how old they are, but I saw them.
I just don't. Do you really think you get a recruit because you wear black jerseys? How much money do you think you make because you wear black jerseys? I hate it when Ohio State doesn't wear, the Ohio State uniform and the damn Buckeye helmet. I mean, what are you doing? You're Ohio State. You wear white, red, and gray. And you wear the Buckeye helmet always. I just... But then again, I hate that the Falcons don't have any red in their uniforms anymore.
But they switched colors. They made a change to switch the colors of the organization.
Right. They decided to eliminate the red and go black.
The LA Kings went to black and silver from the
purple and gold. Right. Stop being the Lakers colors and they forged their own identity.
But you got Maryland that wears wild uniforms on one side of the country and Oregon on the other.
Right.
That should be it. I guess I just think too highly of Florida for them to stoop to that let's wear a black jersey thing. And I know it's military appreciation and that's cool and great.
Oh, that's crap. By the way, they did not change the uniforms to black. If you want military appreciation, wear camouflage. So,
okay, a couple years ago, the Gator, and I think they still do this. The Gators have black basketball jerseys. I really like those.
Okay, and you know what? Maybe it works. Maybe the basketball jersey works.
Not the football jersey.
Well, I hate the helmet.
The helmet I can kind of agree with, but a white helmet with that, or no, just keep an orange helmet.
Well, listen, and I don't like the white F, the white helmet with the orange F. I hate when the Gators, like Urban wore that uniform in the 2009 SEC championship game out of nowhere. It was like, what are you doing? You haven't lost all year. Why are you changing your uniform?
Here we go.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
It's hour 2 of Miller and Moulton on this hump day. Thanks so much for being with us. We are an hour away from Phil Steele. It is our yearly visit with the college football magazine guru, in which he will tell you his thoughts on your favorite college football team. So get your questions ready. Feel free to start sending them in at 21,000 on the text line, or if you're taking in the show on the Miller and Moulton Twitch channel, which is Miller and Moulton, then you can send in your questions in the Twitch chat room. Phil Steele in an hour, 2 segments with Phil, and we actually do a segment during the commercial break, which will be broadcast live on our Twitch channel. Are we Clint Eastwood on the front porch in Gran Torino with these Gator black jerseys and helmets?
Probably. But most of the people who have responded are against I mean, we've had more people that are against them that are for them, but those that are for them are claiming that we're the get off the lawn guys.
Okay. And if you haven't seen them, the Gators announced yesterday they're going with black unis for one game this year. It's November, I think it's the 4th, at home against Arkansas. And so, that's the look they're going for. And I don't like it. And not that they went with the black. Certain alternate uniforms work. For whatever reason, this one to Miller and Moulton, we didn't like. In part because I can't tell that they're the Gators, which is my number one criteria when you go with an alternate uniform. Do I know who the heck you are? And if I don't, I'm inclined not to like them. That's not holding a team to too high of a uniform standard, is it?
No, just want to being able to identify the team by the jerseys that they wear seems to be something that would be a necessary part of your uniform. Does my audience know who I am?
The other thing is, and listen, it's tough to find a couple of talk show hosts that want to do more for the college athlete than Miller and Moulton. And we have felt this way for a very long time. We felt this way before we even knew each other, and we've known one another a quarter century. So we're very pro-college athlete here. But this whole, why do you wear alternate uniforms? Really, how many jerseys are you selling? How much money are we talking here in the grand scheme of things? This is a $100 million athletic department here. Come on now. How many jerseys are we selling? And it's for the recruits. Really? Can you name me the one recruit who picked the college because of the black unis? I'm sure it's happened. I don't know who it is. Now, maybe some people have chosen Oregon because of the 30 different uniform combos, and maybe Maryland because of their 30 different uniform combos. But
what Gator recruit at the Arkansas game is going to say, let's just say that the Gators lose to Arkansas, but they look really good in black unis.
Right.
Is that going to get the kid to come play there?
I don't know. I just think at some point you actually have to do something for, the season ticket holders, the alumni. So when they're at the game and they turn the game on, they go, oh, there's the Gators. As opposed to they turn the game on and they go, who the hell's playing Arkansas? That's Florida. What are you talking about? No. It's the Gators. Look at the bottom of the screen. It says it's Florida. What? I don't know. But we could be wrong. Let us know if you checked them out. Saw the Florida. Maybe. Have we ever had a poll question where we included a photo? Can we do that?
No. You can't, David. You can have the poll question or the photo. You can't have both.
So you can't even just send out the photo and underneath it go, what do you think?
You could do that. You couldn't put a
a poll
question underneath it.
Maybe we should do that. Just send out under, FSN, a picture of the Gators alternate uniforms and just go, what do you think? Just wait for the responses. We'll do the math accordingly. You're the four things, and then when the fifth one comes in, you draw the line, across it. We'll do the math. We'll figure it out. It's not. Listen, we already knew McClanahan was out for the year, so we weren't counting on him for the rest of 2023. But not having him for 2024, tell you what, makes that Savali trade look better, huh?
Does it ever?
Wow, because they have him for this year and 2 more. So they got 3 starters. Is that going to be enough? Glasnow, Eflin, Savale. And then after that, a couple young arms, a bullpen, see how we do. But Ray's still 3 back, 4 in the loss column. And no Shane McClanahan, not just for this year, but next. It's a tough one.
I really think this puts a huge damper on any chance they had to win the division, David. I know they've got the 3 pitchers, but as well as Baltimore's playing right now, trying to overcome that's going to be something. Baltimore's going to need to take it. Put it this way, David, for Tampa to win the division, Baltimore's going to need to have a 2-week run of mediocrity.
Well, quite frankly, what has to happen is the Orioles' young pitchers, who are all approaching the most innings they've ever pitched, they all need to hit the proverbial wall. In this day and age, they keep track of this stuff. 20, 30, 40 years ago, they just threw the guys out there and said, well, hope they can handle the workload. Don't know what to tell you. The season's 6 months, and then we have the playoffs. It comes with the territory. Nowadays, it's like, well, he's never thrown more than 110 innings, and you don't like to go 10% more than that. 20%'s the max. You can go more than that. And there's evidence both ways. I mean, we all know the young guys going all the way back to Nolan Ryan. I think about Clemens and Gooden at 20 and 21 years of age and the innings that they threw. 250 plus innings. And now we're worried about young Orioles starters if they throw 140. I don't even know what sport they're talking about. Things are so different. But, Mark, I think that's the only chance for the Rays to win the East, to be honest with you, is if there is something to this whole innings limit with these young Orioles pitchers. There's still enough games left. There's over a quarter of a season left. So it can happen.
I got you. I just don't see Tampa's ability now to play 650 baseball the rest of the way is going to be difficult. David, all the things that you say are 100% right. They're inarguable. But flip the script here. What type of baseball is Tampa going to have to play to overcome this? Unless you're right, unless Baltimore really hits the wall. Because Tampa has been playing a little bit over their skis anyhow. And now with McClanahan out, it just seems that it's going to be difficult to keep playing at the high level that they've been at here. And after their 2 months of playing 500 ball, they've righted the ship, and they've been playing really well here for the past 3 weeks.
It's so funny. The Orioles' run differential, Tampa Bay's run differential is almost 80 better than Baltimore. And yet the Orioles are 28 games over 500. Orioles play 500 baseball the rest of the way, Mark. They win 95 games. That's 500 baseball the rest of the way. They win 95. The Rays, if they play 500 baseball the rest of the way, they win 92.
And I still think the American League's wide open because you've got Houston now with the Verlander addition that their pitching they think solidified, but Scherzer going to Texas, and the way Texas is scoring runs, no one pays attention to the Rangers because they're the Rangers, but the way that they've been scoring runs all year, what's their run differential?
197.
Thank you.
It's the second best in baseball. Only Atlanta at 206 is better than Texas. The Rays with the third best run differential in the sport, for what that's worth. But Rays would be the 4 seed right now. They would host Houston in a best of 3. Well, and think about it.
How good is that?
Well, think about it. The second place team in the East is going to play the second place team in the West. So you're looking at some combination of Baltimore, Tampa, Texas, and Houston here. And so it's going to be a very entertaining. I mean, think about it. In the National League last year, the 4-5 series was the Mets and the Padres. I mean, that was a really good series on paper. I mean, one team won 101 games, and the other one like 94. I mean, that's a good series. And you're going to have the same thing here. You're going to have 2 teams who win probably 94 games playing each other in a best of 3. It'll be at the Trop right now. The Rays have a 2.5 game lead over Houston, so that they would, and they host the whole series, by the way.
Well, and Houston only has a 2-game lead over Toronto. So don't rule out the Jays to perhaps slide into that 5 seed as well. There's still, if we're talking about Tampa being able to come back from 3 games on Baltimore, well, then Toronto could certainly come back from 2 on Houston in that wild card spot to get to the 5 seed.
Marlins saw their 3-game win streak snapped last night, but fortunately for them, both the Reds and White Sox lost. Or excuse me,
Cubs.
Reds and Cubs. Cubs lost to the White Sox. My bad. So the Marlins continue to hold down the final playoff spot in the National League by a full game. 41 to play for the Marlins. They're at the 3-quarter pole. Is this officially down the stretch they come? Or do you have to get to September before you can say that?
I believe you have to get to September.
Okay. So we're approaching turn 4. We haven't gotten through turn 4. Labor Day weekend, it's down the stretch they come.
There you go.
Okay. So a couple of weeks away. We're approaching turn 4. Marlins ahead by a nose for the final playoff spot. Remember, the 6th seed's going to get the NL Central champ, which right now is Milwaukee. Best of 3 in Milwaukee.
And there's nothing scary about the Brewers.
No, except that they're threatening to leave, even though they have 7 years left on a lease.
Sell the team. Sell the team.
Oakland could be like, listen, we could finance the stadium and build it by the time you guys are legally allowed to go. You can move here if you want.
That is such a bunch of bunk because Manfred's got to be so upset about that story coming. I mean, and the other owners have to be upset about that story. Expansion money is free money to these owners. Lots of free money. And to threaten to take Nashville away is absolutely crazy. It'll never happen. Miller and Moulton. Phil Steele in 47 minutes on the Florida Sports Network.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Deadstruck, let me tell you something. If Philly can explain and fully understands how the NBA in-season tournament works, all right, that would be impressive. I've read 2 stories about it. I don't get it. It seems very convoluted to me.
I mean, I feel like it needs to play out first.
Yes. I need to see it play out and go, oh, okay.
But that's the thing with Adam Silver. I feel like he has made throughout his time as the commissioner of the NBA very bold additions that we question at first, but then we see play out and we end up liking.
Like when they release their schedule tomorrow, they're only releasing 80 games. And I guess if you advance in this in-season tournament, then they're not going to add any more games to your schedule. But if you get knocked out of your pod and you don't advance, then as soon as you get knocked out, the NBA is then going to say, oh, well, okay, since you're going to play 2 less games than everybody else, here are your 2 extra games. And they're going to tell you who the teams are, 1 home, 1 away. I mean, how crazy is that?
It's insane.
Come on, Australia.
So let me get this straight. When we're selling season tickets, are we selling them for 41 games or 40, and then you have to buy the last one separately?
It's a good question.
My guess is that they're going to include 41 games. They just won't have the tickets printed for the last one because they won't know till December who it is and where and when.
Also, the in-season tournament. Oh wait, but the in-season tournament final is in Vegas. I was going to say. So that's one less game also.
Well, here's another thing I don't understand. So it's a 5-team pod. Well, everybody's got to play everybody in the pod, right? Well, that's 4 games. So now if you're scheduling 80 games and you're playing a 4-game pod, that's 84. And then if you advance out of your pod, what are you going to end up playing? 86, 87 games in the regular season?
Mm-hmm.
What does the regular season tournament mean?
Yeah.
The games standings?
I don't think so. That's another thing I don't understand.
In Missouri, thanks for coming. It was a nice night.
That'd be great, RCB, if the players go, I ain't playing.
These
games don't count.
I don't think Jimmy Butler cares about the NBA Cup. I think he cares about the Larry O'Brien trophy.
So let me get this straight. I'm going to play in the in-season, but then I'm going to take the next 2 weeks off. It's one or the other. Spo, what do you want? You want me to play in this NBA Cup or you want me to play in the regular season games?
So, because I really don't care about the NBA Cup, so I've got to change the subject to anything. I'm going to talk about women's soccer. That's how little I care about the NBA Cup.
Go Australia.
Will England, how bittersweet will this be if the England women win the World Cup?
That'd be phenomenal.
I mean, seriously,
great.
That's because Spain's won the World Cup recently. So if Spain wins and the women win, great. They're just going to celebrate and have some tapas. England's women win, they'll be happy and pissed off all at the same time. It's the only reason I want England to win. You're ahead of me. Oh, you're about 10 seconds ahead of me somehow.
Damn.
Tied at 1.
Screamer from outside of the box. On the run, too.
Spain's women have never won, but their men have won recently enough that it wouldn't derail their country by the women winning. That's all I'm saying.
Wow. That was a goal.
We're not talking Messi distance, are we?
Just about. And it didn't touch the ground. It was in the air.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
Some screaming and yelling during the commercial break. Mark and Felipe getting into the Women's World Cup semifinal, England and Australia. The Aussies have tied it 1-1 in the 63rd minute. And the All Whites, that's New Zealand though, and the All Whites are all right tonight.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry. And I've been watching Ted Lasso for the first time. It's
Mm-hmm.
I'm a little emotionally unstable right now when it comes to my football.
Kerr with the goal for Australia, tying the game at 1.
Steve Kerr? That's outstanding.
Sam.
Gotcha. Okay. So you brought up a fascinating point, though, and you don't have to give a damn about soccer/football to appreciate this point that Mark made during the commercial break.
It's all I've been thinking about since I've turned this game on. Now it is tied at 1, but England is the favorite now to win the Women's World Cup. Spain's already advanced. The winner of this match will play Spain for the final. But if England when's the last time they won the World Cup? 60?
Well, 6.
66. Okay.
Right. The men's World Cup, obviously. When's the one they care about?
Right. So how bittersweet will it be for an entire nation if their women were to win the World Cup? Because Spain's won a World Cup recently. The men.
Right. Yeah. And they had a great run, too, where they won major international competitions
right
in and around it. Right. They had their golden era of Spanish soccer. Yes.
So if they win it, they'll celebrate it, and it will just be another trophy for a great soccer nation.
Right.
If
Great
Australia,
sporting
they're
nation,
hosting this
actually.
tournament, if they get in the final, oh my goodness, what a story that is for them.
Sure.
England is supposed to win now.
Correct.
It will be a great story for the English women.
Sure.
I don't know how much the country will celebrate it after 5 minutes after they win, because then they'll start going, but Harry Kane can't deliver.
It put a lot more heat on Harry and the boys in 3 years. That's for sure. Hey, guys, it has been proven that if you wear these uniforms, you can win a World Cup. So, yes, you're on to something, Mark. That would be like if the Toronto Maple Leafs, if there was a women's professional league that also had a Toronto Maple Leafs and they went and won the whatever cup. And maybe instead of the Lord Stanley's Cup, it was Lady Stanley's Cup, whatever. Okay. Lady Samantha's Cup. I don't know. Okay. And then you'd have Toronto hockey fans going, yeah, that's nice. That's cute. No, that was fun. What the heck? One of the boys going to do it. Hey, all you guys out there, this is what a parade looks like. We want one of these. That's a good point, Mark.
That's where my head's been with this, is that this will not ultimately work out well for the English men if the English women win.
You don't think Harry Kane and the boys are watching this right now thinking the same thing, going, oh, man, I don't know. Got enough heat on us as it is. Plus, he just transferred. He's on a different team now. He's
in a different country.
Right. He's catching grief for that. I think he's turned 30. I mean, a lot of pressure on Harry Kane. Harry Kane. So we got that going on. We'll keep you updated. 1-1, England, Australia. Winner plays Spain. Women's World Cup final over the weekend. We know most of you have stopped paying attention. That's if you were paying attention at all. So there. I have a feeling we're going to hear a little more football, soccer in our future. It's just a guess. It's just a guess. I'm surprised, actually, he's not wearing his jersey.
I'm surprised he hasn't bought one. Is there a Messi jersey in your world? I know you have the Inter Miami golf polo.
I just have the golf polo right now. I do have a lot of friends back at home, though, that already have the jerseys. So I feel like I need to get one. And by the way, they haven't worn it yet, because every game that Messi's played thus far, they have the pink jerseys. They do have a black jersey as well. Now, that's a black jersey that I know that you guys can get behind.
If that's what they always wear, that's fine. What we're talking about is that the Florida Gators are blue, orange, and white.
Correct.
And they're wearing black. That's all.
And it really clashes with what's around it to the point where it just doesn't look good. There are alternate jerseys that look good, and we just don't think this one does. That's all.
We do know who looked good last night, and we have a funny feeling we're going to hear about it next with our play of the day. What do you have for us, Felipe?
Well, Inter Miami up 1-0. 19 and a half minutes into the game. Messi from way outside the box.
Messi driving forward. Messi from distance! What can he not do? We are watching greatness.
Indeed, we are continuing to witness greatness. Miami wins in the League's Cup semifinal over the Philadelphia Union 4-1. What's that now? 9 goals in 6 games he has played with Inter Miami?
Correct. 9 and 6. He's averaging a goal and a half per.
You know, at least he's living up to every single thing we said before he came to Inter Miami. What he could potentially do, he's doing it and then some. Because he's not just scoring, he's passing. He's doing it all.
Right. And he has taken the team. Now, granted, they've had some reinforcements. They got a key guy back from injury, but they were the worst team in the league. Messi shows up. One of his friends comes with him. They get another guy healthy. And now they look like they're the best damn team that's ever played MLS soccer.
Well, they're undefeated. And England just scored, by the way, in the England-Australia match. It's now 2-1 in the 70th.
Harry Kane! Harry Kane!
I almost made that equalizer by Australia the play of the day because it was an incredible goal on the run, outside of the box. Ball didn't even touch the ground, but England ties it up now.
But Felipe, you got to know your audience. Wow. We already said that goal happened, and most of our audience doesn't care.
I know. And you know what? It's sad because
no, it's not sad.
Well, hold on.
It's Australia versus England in women's soccer. It's not sad that we don't care. It's not. No. Felipe, it's not sad. It's perfectly fine. It's perfectly normal. So we didn't care about soccer in this whole country until about 5 years ago.
I was going to talk
about the fact that we should care about a game between England and Australia that's being played at 6 a.m. bothers you, Felipe.
No.
Go get another.
Harry Kane.
I was making the point more so about soccer because here in Southwest Florida,
you were making a point.
Hold on. Last Friday, my parents were in town and we went to a sports bar.
Is there
there's preseason football going on? I understand that, and baseball. I had to ask to put on the Inter Miami game. It's Lionel Messi. It's the greatest soccer player of all time. Hello, he's in the United States.
You're not
now.
in Miami,
oh, but we're in Southwest Florida.
Right, a long ways from Miami.
Yeah, the culture is a little different. It's a little bit. We told you, by the way. We did, for the record.
I know.
Once again, the two guys who have lived in Southwest Florida longer than you've been alive, we told you were going to have to ask to put that match on, and you went, oh, no, it's Lionel Messi. Okay. All right. We continue not to listen to us when it concerns the 239 and the sports in the state of Florida. Once again, we've lived in the state longer than you've been alive.
So I just want to reiterate, because we're coming up on the break now. Preseason football outranks Lionel Messi in Southwest Florida.
Not in Southwest Florida, in the United States of America.
Yeah.
Did you see the numbers of the Jets preseason game? Do you pay any attention to what we say on this show? The numbers were astronomical.
NFL Network.
NBA playoffs.
The 2 preseason games on NFL Network did 2.5 million viewers, and that doesn't count the home markets because the home markets were on local TV. That's nationally 2.5 million people. Okay, watch preseason football on NFL Network. Yes. It's helmets and shoulder pads. It's not football. It's football.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung has successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida for over 30 years. As a former prosecutor, the information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, a criminal matter, or involved in an auto accident, call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. I'm a local attorney with local knowledge to assist you through the process. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Offices in Fort Worth.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
20 years ago, Jason and I had the idea for a jewelry store like no other, with a vast selection of certified diamonds priced 8 to 12% over cost. A team of individuals who are educated, driven, and believe in cultivating relationships.
Today, we have become one of the largest independent jewelry stores in the country. Todd and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day, along with our GIA gemologists, master jewelers, custom designers, and non-commissioned diamond consultants, all of which we consider family.
As direct diamond importers, we travel the world, forging relationships and sourcing diamonds. What we love most about our business is that we can call Southwest Florida our home.
If selection, value, and comfort are important to you, give the Diamond District an opportunity. You won't find a better diamond buying experience. Todd and I look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Apparently, Legends in Naples is the place you have to go, Felipe, for soccer.
Gotcha. Look, I'm impressed they had it. I just have to ask, that's all.
Well, Felipe, this goes back to what Mark was trying to tell you a week or so ago. It's not, what's the MLS package on Apple Plus for us at home? 40, 50, 60 bucks, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it ain't $50 to a sports bar. It's hundreds, if not $1,000. But it's probably hundreds of dollars for the sports bar. And I'm sure they're like, so how many people are going to come down here specifically to watch Messi? And my guess is that a lot of them said, tell you what, we'll have like the hostess or the bartenders keep track of how many people ask. Hey, a lot of people interested in the Messi match? No, man, didn't have anybody. Oh, okay.
I can guarantee you we were the only people.
There you go.
Yeah. I mean, hell, there were people in Dolphins jerseys.
Yes.
For preseason football.
Yes. And the fact the Bucs weren't even on preseason football in this market for their first game, which is just staggering to me.
I can't believe that. I was shocked when you guys were texting that. I mean, they got two channels. Can't put one on one and one on the other. It's bad enough.
What the hell kind of play was that?
That was a really quick response from England.
It's that Harry Kane.
David, do you remember what the women's first game did? Television numbers? You got those numbers, right? That Women's World Cup game. You kind of didn't they do like what was the number that that first Women's World Cup game did?
Uh,
that was on at 9 o'clock at night. Didn't do like 6.7 million people or something like that.
The second one. That was the second one. The first one was 3-0 Vietnam.
Okay.
But the Netherlands won the 1-1 tie.
Right.
Yeah, that did like over 6 million.
Just because we got a tweet here, or a text rather, that is disparaging the U.S. women, that no one's interested, especially about the women, and we can kind of squash that with a really easy fact.
Yeah, they had 3 million people watch at 3 to 5 a.m.
Again.
Well, about on average, about 2 million. But.
Ten seconds.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Phil Steele, 22 minutes from now. 2 segments with Phil Steele. As we are 10 days away from week 0 of the college football season, Notre Dame, USC amongst the teams in action then. We're just 15 days away from the Gators, UCF, and others. The Thursday night heading into Labor Day weekend. So Phil Steele, half-hour college football talk on the radio and live on the Miller and Moulton Twitch channel. Check us out there because we'll stay live during the commercial break. Pepper and Phil with some college football questions.
Felipe taking a little heat for his play of the day. On the text line, 21,000 is the number. Messi scoring goals in a retirement league. Why is that news? As for 3 get off my lawn age guys, Gator black uniforms aren't about us, and I really don't know one person that gives a poo about Messi. And then finally, soccer is still not caught on the U.S., especially women's soccer, when half the women don't want to sing the national anthem. Actually, women's soccer, U.S. women's soccer did incredible numbers here. Incredible TV numbers.
Especially for the time of day that the matches were played. So there's the second match they played against the Netherlands did over 6 million viewers. That's more than the Major League All-Star game.
Now, they were a polarizing team. There is no question, but we were watching.
Right. Oh, yeah, all the goodwill. I mean, there was nothing but, good feelings surrounding the U.S. women's national team. For the first time now, on the pitch and off, they've, little adversity. Going to have to, we'll see if they make changes on and off the pitch. Before we get to Phil Steele at the top of the hour, I do want to talk a little football here. So 3 quarterbacks taken in the first 4 picks of the draft. All 3 teams are going to start those quarterbacks. Carolina's starting Bryce Young, even though they have Andy Dalton. Houston is starting C.J. Stroud, even though they have Davis Mills and Case Keenum, who's got to be damn near 40 by now. My goodness. And Indianapolis starting Anthony Richardson, even though they have Gardner Minshew.
Much to the surprise of Anthony Richardson.
In fact, his quote was, "I was shocked." Imagine how Minshew felt. Anyway, quick question. Because let's come on, we all know you can handle quarterbacks different. You can throw them in the deep end and see if they swim. You can keep them on the sideline and put them in midseason, year 2. There's all different ways that have worked and not worked. Your gut feeling here: Carolina, Houston, Indianapolis, Young, Stroud, Richardson. They're all getting thrown in the deep end. You agree with it?
I agree with Bryce Young because everything that I've seen, read, and heard is that his leadership qualities are off the chart. I mean, he was running meetings as a rookie in the offensive room. That there are things that have impressed me that I've read about who Bryce Young is as a young man. That seems like he can handle it mentally. CJ Stroud didn't look good in his first preseason appearance. I still would put him in. Richardson's the one that I wouldn't be playing yet. I just don't think he has enough reps. And I think they're going to force him to run a lot more than maybe you would want him to run.
Now, new head coach in Carolina with Bryce Young, albeit an experienced head coach in Frank Reich. New head coach in Houston with CJ Stroud. First-time head coach in D'Amico Ryans. And new first-time head coach in Indianapolis, Steichen, who came over from the Eagles, and obviously many comparisons being made between Anthony Richardson and Jalen Hurts, how Shane Steichen handled Hurts, and now he's getting another Hurts in theory in terms of skill set, only he's bigger and stronger. So will they use him the same way? Remember how the Eagles handled Hurts? They didn't throw him in, because remember when they drafted Hurts, he was a mid-second round pick. He was backing up Carson Wentz. And then he played because Wentz got hurt. And then he played because Wentz wanted out. But he didn't really establish himself until the latter part of his second year. And also they changed their offense midway through his second year, in which they adapted it more towards Jalen Hurts' skill set as opposed to trying to fit a square peg into a round hole.
And maybe that's why Indy's going the direction they're going in, is simply because that head coach thinks he knows how to run the right offense for the quarterback. My worry is you can't go backward. I don't believe. If you start Minshew, it gives you however many games you think you need to get Richardson ready, you put him in, fine. If it goes really badly for Richardson, can you pull him and go back to Minshew? I don't think you can.
Fam Forever in our Twitch chat room says, could Indianapolis be worried that if they put Minshew in there and he's doing decently, that they can't take him out? Not that Minshew's the future, because he's not, but that if you're competitive, if you're winning games, if you're 3-3 even, can you take Minshew out? Don't you? And I would argue no. That first off, you tell Minshew, listen, this has nothing to do with you. You know why you're here. You're a placeholder. And as soon as we think we're going to play Richardson, we're going to play Richardson, period. And the classic example of that was the Giants in 2004. They drafted Eli. Well, they didn't draft him. They traded for him. But they had Eli. And they started Kurt Warner because Eli wasn't ready. And Kurt actually had him off to a 5-2 start. And when they were 5-4, 9 games in, they were actually, if the playoffs had started at that moment in time, the Giants were the last wild card in the NFC. And they put Eli in. And Kurt wasn't happy about it, but he knew it was coming. I mean, when they signed him, they told him, listen, when it's time to play Eli, we're going to play Eli. And the Giants went from a wild card contender, and Eli lost 6 straight starts. So the Colts could, in theory, have done the same thing to Minshew and go, listen, we're going to play, but until we think Richardson, can play, then we're going to put him in. Here's my thing, Mark. It has nothing to do with the 3 quarterbacks. I would just ask in a meeting, is our line good enough to play these kids? Because apparently Carolina's is not. Apparently Bryce Young is running for his life. And Bryce Young's 5'10 and a half and 180 pounds. And that would be my question. If maturity-wise, and I'm a Bryce Young guy. I believe in him. I think he will play well in the NFL. But I'm just worried that right now, Carolina's line is going to get him killed.
Do you believe that a quarterback can regress by playing him too early?
Yes, I do. I think it is possible to just get the tar beaten out of you. I think it happened with Carr's older brother in Houston. Absolutely. I think it happened with Couch in Cleveland. Absolutely. I think it's possible. And because he's 180 pounds, even though we've seen, I mean, listen, he got the tar beat out of him in the Tennessee game last year. I mean, those that don't think Bryce Young is tough enough, he's tough enough. In fact, you're allowed to hit a quarterback in college in ways you can't hit him on Sundays. I mean, it's a little old school, actually, on Saturdays.
You can still drive a guy to the ground.
Yes, you can.
That's the one thing you can still do on Saturdays that you cannot do on Sundays.
And Bryce Young, and he came into the game injured and threw for 400 yards, and they were down 18, and he led them back and took the lead. And no, it was amazing. That was the game in which I said, well, I'm drafting this guy. I can't get my hands on this guy fast enough. But I am a little concerned about that line. I really am. I'd probably play him, but man, we'd be running a lot. We really would. I got to protect this guy. This guy's the future, and we can't block right now. That's a problem. Richardson's big. He's stronger. He's very fast. Bryce is not a big runner. Don't just assume because he's an undersized quarterback that, he's Johnny Manziel or Russell Wilson back there. He can move, but he's not a runner.
No, he's more like Russ.
Yes.
He's more like Russ in that regard. He runs around to buy time in the pocket. He is a throw-first quarterback. And Richardson, that's my worry there, is that he is a run-first quarterback, and putting him in too early, will they be able to develop his throwing game? Or is it just a matter of first receiver's not open, I'm taking off running?
And obviously you can make the argument either way. Do you hold Richardson back because clearly he's not ready? I mean, hell, there were doubts as to whether or not he was, had it all together to play college ball as a starter. So what, you're just going to throw him into the deep end on Sundays? But then again, the other way to look at it is, listen, this guy needs reps. Because of injuries and the fact he was second string for most of 2 years, what did he have, 12, 13 starts in his college career?
Put it this way, I think the Colts could give Arizona a run to be on the clock with this guy playing quarterback. That's how bad I think things are going to be in Indianapolis.
So it's another area that I'm torn in. Do I want to give this guy a month to just kind of run the scout team, just kind of observe things, get a better handle on the offense? Or actually, do I need to get this guy reps? This guy needs to play. He didn't play enough on Saturdays. So I got to get him as many reps as I can, as soon as I can. Remember, you got 3 years. You got 3 years, and then you have to make a decision as to whether or not you're picking up the fifth-year option. So the clock, they put the clock in the corner, Mark. 3 days, 19 hours, 47 minutes. Basically the 3-year clock is running on these three guys. And those teams have said, well, then throw them in the deep end. Let's go.
And it should be, what would you put the over-under at for Carolina? All three teams wins. Carolina, Indianapolis, Houston.
So you went Carolina first?
Well, I'm just combine the three teams. How many games do they win this year?
Ooh, here's an over, 15.5.
I'd go under.
Because then if all three teams average 5 and 12, it's an under. What if I went 14.5?
That was where I was putting it at. That was the number I had.
Gotcha. I'll do 14.5 then. Because I was literally thinking 6, 5, and 4 with the three teams to add up to 15. So I should go half under. Make it difficult on both of us. That's my over-under right there.
I'm going to lean under.
Okay.
For those that do care, they're in stoppage time in the World Cup. England added on an insurance goal. They are up 3-1 over Australia in stoppage time in the World Cup women's semifinal. England will win and go on to play Spain unless Australia can pull off a miracle in the final 2.5 minutes of stoppage time.
That was important for Felipe and peeps who are keeping track of this.
Now, there could be someone, could be someone driving to school with their daughter in the car right now.
That's true. That's true.
And they were watching it this morning, and we're helping them get the day going.
Phil Steele in 10 minutes. Get your questions. Send them in. 21,000 on the text line. 21,000 on the text line. And if you're watching us and taking us in on the Miller and Moulton Twitch.tv channel, well, send them in the Twitch chat room. We will fire them at Phil Steele. 2 segments and a Twitch segment in between. Getting ready for the college football season, which does kick off in 10 days. I mean, Notre Dame's in the top 15. USC's in the top 10. I mean, it's kind of tough for people like me to say this doesn't count.
I mean, we're in single digits to football games that matter starting tomorrow.
There you go.
Look at that.
Yep. There you go. If you count week 0, that means this coming Saturday is the last Saturday without college football until mid-January. Because I think even that third Saturday in December, besides the FCS playoffs, I think the bowl games start that third Saturday in December.
Well, an NFL starts on Saturday then anyhow, right?
Correct.
So, I mean, from that Saturday on, we will have football on Saturdays for months upon months.
Yeah, till late January.
We've made it.
Your face looks like when Marty Schottenheimer, the late terrific coach, said, "There's a gleam, men. There's a gleam. Now go get the gleam."
Phil Steele, the best in the business, for 30 minutes, coming up next, right here on Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
20 years ago, Jason and I had the idea for a jewelry store like no other, with a vast selection of certified diamonds priced 8 to 12% over cost. A team of individuals who are educated, driven, and believe in cultivating relationships.
Today, we have become one of the largest independent jewelry stores in the country. Todd and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day, along with our GIA gemologists, master jewelers, custom designers, and non-commissioned diamond consultants, all of which we consider family.
As direct diamond importers, we travel the world, forging relationships and sourcing diamonds. What we love most about our business is that we can call Southwest Florida our home.
If selection, value, and comfort are important to you, give the Diamond District an opportunity. You won't find a better diamond buying experience. Todd and I look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
Yeah. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here. Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
I will say that quarterback series got better as it went on. I watched the rest of it yesterday.
So they spend a little too much time for you, the whole family personality thing.
Just early on, there was so much of the wives. And I get the story they were trying to tell. It just didn't interest me. I mean, there was some cute moments. I mean, they had, they're all on. Mahomes is on Kimmel after he wins the Super Bowl. He's already been to Disneyland. He's holding his baby. And Brittany there, the wife, looks at him and basically says, get used to it. It's the offseason. And he makes a joke. He kind of makes a joke. He goes, I thought winning the Super Bowl was hard.
No, Sonny. Dalvin doesn't make the Jets the favorite in the AFC East. Buffalo's the favorite.
Only according to ESPN does he.
Right.
Literally on Get Up yesterday, they asked the question, does getting Dalvin Cook make the Jets? Who's the favorite? And they are all picking the Jets to win it. Everybody on that show did, which you expected out of Greeny, but the other ones you would think maybe.
So do you think Sage Steele ends up on both Fox and Outkick? Because she left ESPN yesterday.
Yep.
They reached a settlement. I'll bet they did. I know Disney offered her $500,000 at the beginning. And she went, no. No, I'm not thinking Fox Sports, CBW. I'm thinking Fox News. But I definitely think she'll end up on Outkick. Oh, CBW, there's no doubt they were not going to renew her contract. I mean, think about it. If you employed me and I sued you, I mean, you're really going to renew my contract? ESPN suspended her for views that she expressed on Twitter and didn't suspend others whose views were left of center and hers were right of center.
Keep an eye on the phone. He's calling us.
He retweeted us, so he knows. I mean, he's all over it. And Felipe, make sure you explain to him we're doing a segment. We'll break. We'll be live on Twitch for the break, and then we'll come back to another segment, even though I explained it to him, but it's a pretty good show then, right? For August 16th?
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
And it's time for our yearly conversation with Phil Steele. He, of course, the author of the preeminent college football preview magazine. It's Phil Steele's College Football Preview. Follow him on Twitter, Phil Steele. That's Steele. Phil Steele 044. 042. Phil, it's David and Mark. Thanks for doing this. How are you?
Hey, I am doing great. Always better when I'm talking to you guys. How many years have we been doing this show together?
Well, we've been doing it for 17. I think we've had you for, 17. So
appreciate you having me on all these years, guys. How you been?
Well, we've been good. Very quickly, with the transfer portal and all the movement, is the magazine harder than ever before to put together and feel as if your information is going to be as close to 100% as possible?
Yeah, it got a lot more frantic down the stretch this year, guys. You know, I used to be able to go to the press probably in the middle of May and have that thing on the newsstands around the early part of June. But this year, with the portal closing on May 15th, I had to push it all the way back to June 8th is the last day we sent the page to the press. And I talked to 123 of the 133 head coaches, and each one has my cell phone. I said, look, I don't care if it's June 6th or June 7th. Text me, call me. If you sign somebody before then, and I'm going to get them in the magazine, I'm going to rewrite the page. So we're scrambling around on that last day, changing pages, changing my 3-4 deeps that we put on each team. But I like to feel we captured about 95, 96% of the transfer landings this year.
One of the things you've always been great at is pointing out what the AP poll is going to look like and what your poll looks like. One of the things we discovered yesterday, Phil, is that, if you're that there's been three teams last year that weren't in the top 25 that finished in the top 10. So who is a team that you see outside of the top 25 in the AP that could make a legit run this year?
Well, let's say not completely out of the top 25. I think my magazine put them in the top 25, and that would be Wisconsin. And, when I look at Wisconsin, to be honest with you, in the first write-through of the magazine, I wasn't wild about them because Phil Longo's coming in. They're changing to more of an air raid offense, and that concerns me because Wisconsin's a team that's always relied on the run game, and they've got great running backs. But in the third write-through process of the magazine, after talking to Coach Fickle, he assured me they are not abandoning the run game. In fact, he feels, if you go back and look at Wisconsin the last 3 years, they haven't averaged over 5 yards per carry, which is unusual for them. He feels that with the pass game, bringing in a Tanner Mordecai from SMU, it's going to open up the box for Braylon Allen and Ches Maluzzi. Teams won't be able to stack 8-9 guys in the box. And now they will average over 5 yards per carry running the football. They've got a veteran offensive line. They added some solid receivers. And this is a much more experienced team. Last year, they only had 3 starters back on defense. This year, they have 8. Overall, the team goes from number 107 on my experience chart to number 20. Got a great article on philsteele.com and the blogs right now about teams that make that kind of jump in the experience level. And then you look at the schedule. Their road games are against Washington State, Purdue, Illinois, Indiana, and Minnesota, all winnable. Toughest 2 games are Iowa. They get them at home. And Ohio State, they not only get them at home, they get them the week after they play Penn State. So it wouldn't surprise me if Wisconsin, led by Luke Fickell, who took a group of 5 team to the playoff, actually snuck into the playoff this year, despite barely getting into the top 25 this year.
And that's Phil Steele, STEELE.com, philsteele.com. Follow him on Twitter, PhilSteele042. All right, let's get in state and let's cover the big 3, 4, 5, whatever we want to call them. We'll start with the Noles, the only team that's ranked in the preseason top 25. Do you think they're a legitimate national title contender?
Yeah, I tell you, what a difference a year makes, for Florida State. I mean, last year at this time when we're talking about Florida State, Mike Norvell's on the hot seat. He's coming off of 3-6 and 5-7 seasons, and now he's got a legitimate national title contender. And here's the thing: if you look at Florida State in my rankings in the front of the magazine on the offense and the defense, I'm talking about quarterback, running back, receiver, offensive line, defensive line, linebacker, and DB. They rank in my top units in all 7 units. Now, that's not big news. A lot of top 25 teams rank in all 7 units, but Florida State actually ranks in my top 15 of all 7 units. So this is a veteran team that has got 17 returning starters coming back. And once again, Norvell has landed a ton of transfers, like Braden Fisk from Western Michigan, a sack master on the defensive line. Fentrell Cypress, one of the top cornerbacks in the ACC, is added in. Jaheim Bell at a tight end from South Carolina. Michigan State's top receiver, Keon Coleman, comes over after the spring. Numerous players on the offensive line to even add more talent to a very talented team. Now, I didn't pick them to win the ACC this year because they do have to play Clemson on the road. Clemson's only lost one home game the last 6 years and did beat Florida State on the road last year. But I think Florida State, if they win that game at Clemson, yes, they are a legitimate national title contender. And even if they lose that game, if they beat Clemson in the ACC title game, they find themselves in the playoff this year.
What about the Canes? A lot of pressure on Cristobal to get this team turned around. Last year did not go as well as expected. They've been recruiting well, but it hasn't translated on the field. They've got a big game week 2 at home against A&M. How do you look at the Canes?
Yeah, and I think they're going to be an improved team this year. I got to tell you, when I talked to Coach Cristobal going over the team with them, he was buoyant. He was very happy about the outlook this season, and the main reason was the offensive and defensive lines. Last year, he felt that those units were not where he wanted them to be. This year, he felt the offensive line took a huge step in talent and physicality. He said there was a monster difference up front with big, long, powerful guys. And then the same thing on the defensive end. He loved the defensive edges, the edges on the defense, and the potential on the interior. So with stronger line play, they're in good shape. You look at Tyler Van Dyke at quarterback. 2 years or coming into last year, remember, he was hyped as one of the top quarterbacks in the country. Struggled in the offense that they had last season, but adapted well to the Shannon Dawson offense. I think we'll see Van Dyke return to that. But I don't think they're the ACC contender quite yet. They did make my most improved list. I think they'll make a bowl game, but a tough schedule. The A&M game you talked about, at North Carolina, home against Clemson, at NC State, at Florida State. They got some tough games on the schedule. I see this as a year of improvement, and I see Miami next year being one of the ACC contenders.
And the Canes over-under this year is 7.5. Meanwhile, the Gators over-under is 5.5. I don't know how many schools have a tougher schedule than what Florida has. Back-to-back 6 and 7 seasons. I don't like the Wisconsin transfer at quarterback. How do you view the Gators?
Yeah, and all those things. Before I talked to Coach Napier, I was not wild about Graham Mertz. I was not wild about the schedule. I actually rated the toughest schedule in the country, number 1 out there. And I mentioned to Coach Napier the 5.5 over/under total. And each time I threw up one of these things to him, you could feel the smile through the phone. He's very happy about all that. That nobody respects Graham Mertz. Nobody thinks they're going to have a winning season. He says, "Go ahead, bring it on. We're going to do well." And the thing about Mertz, he is a guy that, if you watch his first game, everybody thought he's going to be a first-round draft pick, and then he struggled with turnovers. He's not the mobile quarterback that fit the Florida offense, but Coach Napier's confident that he's going to do well. He's scored very high on the intelligence test. He's a guy that's first in, last out, is really bought into it, and he was one of the top quarterbacks out of high school, and he seems to feel Graham Mertz is going to do well. I felt better about Graham Mertz after talking to Coach Napier. They've got the running backs with Etienne, Johnson, and Carroll. The offensive line's rebuilt. The defensive line's rebuilt. I mean, the experience-wise, they're only number 109. But this is a team that I think could surprise and get to a bowl game this year, despite that tough schedule. And Coach Napier feels they're going to pull some surprises this year.
Well, you pointed it out. That line is inexperienced. It'll be interesting to see with that quarterback how they can protect him for the Gators. UCF jumps into the Big 12. A lot of expectations when they were in the AAC. Now they go to a conference where the talent is just higher. How will they fare?
Yeah, and talking to Coach Malzahn, he's a guy that's been in the SEC, and he said he's been preparing for the Big 12 for 2 years, trying to get this team ready for the jump to the Big 12. And of the 4 new teams for the Big 12, we're talking about UCF, BYU, Cincinnati, and Houston. They are by far the best team. Last year, their season sort of went south when John Rice Plumlee kept getting injured. But now I think they're better prepared if he suffers an injury, with the Timmy McClain coming in as a backup. Talent-wise, they're up there. I mean, they've got 8 starters back on offense, 7 on defense. They're my number 9 most experienced team in the country. I've got them rated with my number 32 set of running backs. The receivers are in my top units, the offensive line, the DBs, all in my top units in the front of the magazine. You look at the schedule this year, they do have to play Kansas State on the road, Oklahoma on the road, Texas Tech on the road, and even Boise State on the road. Those are all going to be tough games. But I've got the other games, a couple of toss-ups, but I think UCF, if any of those newcomer 4 teams are actually going to contend in the Big 12, I think UCF is it. I do think they have a winning season and have the best year of any of the 4 newcomers.
All right, got about 2 minutes before we take our first break. Which team you like better in the AAC, South Florida or FAU?
I'm going to go with FAU. And Tom Herman, when I was talking to him, really likes the offensive line. In fact, he was just giddy when we were talking about the offensive line for Florida Atlantic, felt that it was right up there, and kept comparing this team to the ones he had at Houston. And the schedule is set up extremely well for Florida Atlantic this year. They avoid both SMU and Memphis. They host UTSA and Tulane. I think Florida Atlantic's going to have a better season this year and surprise a little bit in the AAC.
South Florida, what do you think about? Obviously, they got to get a lot right, but are they moving in the right direction? We've got about a minute.
Yes, love the hire of Alex Golish. Going through it, you could tell this is a guy that's been prepared to be a head coach. Like the overall talent he's got, he brought in a ton of transfers. Normally, you would take a 1-11 team with a new head coach, only 76 and the experience start and expect nothing. I think they'll pull some surprises this year. I think they'll just miss out on a bowl game.
All right, Phil, tell people how they can get either your magazine or online.
Appreciate that. The magazine's available right now at Barnes & Noble and Books A Million. Those are the only two outlets that have it, so don't waste it. If you're looking for brick-and-mortar stores, Barnes & Noble, Books A Million, pick it up today. 352 pages. Go online and get it at philsteele.com. You go to philsteele.com, order the hard copy. We give you the digital copy absolutely free, and the digital copy all the way updated all the way through September. That's philsteele.com.
Phil will join us for another segment during the commercial break. We will also fire some questions at him live on our Twitch broadcast. That's twitch.tv/Miller and Moulton.
You want to get a question in for Phil? 21,000 is the text line. 21000. If you've never texted the show before, FSN Radio is the keyword, and then you can text whatever it is you want to hear from Phil Steele. We'll take a bigger look at the national picture, take a look at the long-term game of college football as well, and get Phil's perspective on all of that. He is Phil Steele, philsteele.com, joining us for 2 segments, as he's done every year for over 15 years on Miller and Moulton, right here. Thanks for listening on the Florida Sports Network.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung has successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida for over 30 years. As a former prosecutor, the information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, a criminal matter, or involved in an auto accident, call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. I'm a local attorney with local knowledge to assist you through the process. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Offices in Fort Worth.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
20 years ago, Jason and I had the idea for a jewelry store like no other, with a vast selection of certified diamonds priced 8 to 12% over cost. A team of individuals who are educated, driven, and believe in cultivating relationships.
Today, we have become one of the largest independent jewelry stores in the country. Todd and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day, along with our GIA gemologists, master jewelers, custom designers, and non-commissioned diamond consultants, all of which we consider family.
As direct diamond importers, we travel the world, forging relationships and sourcing diamonds. What we love most about our business is that we can call Southwest Florida our home.
If selection, value, and comfort are important to you, give the Diamond District an opportunity. You won't find a better diamond buying experience. Todd and I look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Phil, are you there?
There we go.
Phil, are you there?
I am here. Can you hear me?
Absolutely.
Sure can. Most overrated, underrated?
As far as
a team that you think is a little overhyped this year.
Take a look at the AP poll real quick. Underrated, I would say, Texas A&M. Is this on air or
we're on Twitch? We're on Twitch. So
Okay.
there's a couple hundred people listening.
Okay, good. My most underrated team this year is Texas A&M, and with Texas A&M, I think you take a look at last year. Even in a 5-7 season, they've recruited exactly like LSU and Alabama have. Last year, they beat LSU 38-23. Last year, they were at Alabama's 2-yard line at the end of the game on the road, down by 4 points with the chance to win it. So even in a 5-7 season, they did that. They were the least experienced team in the country last year. This year, they're one of the most experienced teams in the country, number 14. I think A&M, everybody talks, is it Alabama or LSU in the West? I'm going to say, is it Alabama, LSU, or Texas A&M in the West this year? I think all of them are right up there. I don't know if there's a team that's grossly overrated this year. I think, coming into the season, as long as teams stay healthy, everybody's going to be up there. So I don't know if there's one that I see on the AP poll that really doesn't deserve to be there.
I'll save the Michigan questions for on air because I think there's going to be a lot of people that want to know about the blue. So,
we had a gentleman on Twitch who wanted to know about Colorado. Okay, what kind of a season do you think that the Buffs will have?
With Colorado, it's a tough team to handicap. In fact, I talked to 11 of the 12 coaches in the Pac-12. The only one I didn't talk to is Deion Sanders, and I don't know if I would have got much out of the conversation because when my magazine went to the press, Colorado didn't have its entire roster yet. They were just signing them as we were going to the press. We got most of the players on there, but these guys didn't even participate in the spring. I think it's going to be tough for Deion to take this team and get it together in just the summer, the month of August, getting them ready for the football season. I do think talent-wise, they're more talented than last year, but they're playing in the Pac-12, which is an underrated conference. The over-under win total is 3.5 on them. I'd actually lean towards the under. They play a tough schedule, and I think it's going to take a year or so for this team to get together.
Got a question about K-State. What do you think about Kansas State this year, Phil?
As long as Chris Kleiman's the head coach, they're a Big 12 contender. They don't have the star power last year. If you take a look at last year, they had 7 stars returning. This year, they have only one of those 7 back. But Trayshawn Ward should be able to fill in for Deuce Vaughn. I like the way that Will Howard emerged at the end of the year last year. All 5 starters back on the offensive line. They're strong on the defensive line as well. They're a legitimate contender in the Big 12. I projected Texas and Oklahoma, but if somebody's going to break through with those 2 teams, Kansas State's that team.
If I told you Oregon State's going to play for the Pac-12 title, would you hang up on me?
I would not. I think they have a great shot. In fact, on philsteele.com, I had a blog about the Pac-12 being the Big 6 and Little 6. And of the Big 6 teams, which Oregon State is one of them, they went 30-2, by the way, against the lower half. They only face one of the Big 6 teams on the road, Oregon. They get Utah at home. They get Washington at home. They get UCLA at home. And here's something you might not know. Oregon State's 12-1 at home the last 2 years, only a close loss to USC. And that's been playing in a refigured stadium that was being rebuilt. The stadium's completely rebuilt now. It's full capacity this year. I could see Oregon State winning the Pac-12.
And they don't play USC. So
right.
In theory, they'd play them for the first time maybe in the title game.
Quite possibly. That's a great pick.
All right, just a greedy, selfish question from the host. Do my Sparties go to a bowl this year?
You talk about Michigan State?
Yeah.
I think it's going to be tough.
I do too.
Yeah, they're gonna need the offensive line and defensive line. They brought in a bunch of transfers to really gel. They're going to need the new quarterback to play well. But I don't have them going to a bowl game. I've got them about the same record as last year, unfortunately.
That's about what I thought. And then we've got a Mac question for oh, no, we're going back on.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Our remaining moments with Phil Steele. the author of Phil Steele's College Football Preview. Barnes & Noble, Books A Million is where you can find it. PhilSteele.com, STEELE.com. Also, PhilSteele042 is how you can follow him on Twitter. All right. A generic question before we get very specific. Are you bullish on the future of college football with all the changes that have already taken place and that are on the horizon? Are you bullish?
I'm not wild about all the changes, but first year of the magazine, 1995, was the last year of the Southwest Conference. I wasn't wild about that departing, and college football still survives. So it's a scary new world, but as college football seems to get better every year.
Listeners chiming in on the text line, a couple of Big Ten questions. I'll combine them in one here. Your thoughts on Illinois in the West? Can they repeat what they did from a year ago, or can they even get better?
I thought Illinois was the best team in the West last year, despite the fact they didn't win it. And this year they lost a lot of talent. Safety Martin, defensive back Witherspoon, safety Brown. But they've got two NFL guys on the D-line in Newton and Randolph, two NFL guys on the O-line in Adams and Pearl. If Luke Altmaier steps in, I think they can come close to last year. And like I said, last year I thought they were the best team in the West.
Are the big three at the same time for the first time ever? I mean, they're ranked, 2, 3, and 7. Michigan, Ohio State, and Penn State. What separates them?
Probably just the belief they're going to win. I thought Michigan got through and 2 years ago, beaten Ohio State, and then was a more confident team when they played Ohio State last year. The thing with Penn State, they've got a lot of close losses to Ohio State, a lot of close losses to Michigan the last couple of years. They need that belief they can break through. Talent-wise, I've got them all up there. I've got Ohio State number 2 in my power poll, Michigan number 3, and Penn State number 5. I went with Michigan because they've got the best schedule of the 3. They do have to play Penn State on the road, but they get Ohio State at home. Their other road games are very winnable. They've got the best schedule of the 3 teams.
Can Maryland beat any of those 3 teams? Someone asked about Maryland. I mean, can Maryland, I know they can't contend for the East, but can they upset one of the big 3?
Well, they came close last year against Ohio State, gave them a good game. They came close against Michigan last year. But my concern with Maryland this year is actually the line of scrimmage. They lose all 4 starters on the D-line. They lose 4 starters on the offensive line. Yeah, they're flashy. They got the quarterback, the running backs, the receivers. They got the skill players. But I don't think they can contend with the big boys at the line of scrimmage. I'm going to say they do not pull an upset this year.
CBW in our Twitch chat room wants to know, is there an ACC team that you like to kind of outperform expectations?
Yeah, in the ACC, I'm going to go with Pitt. Nobody's really even talking about Pitt, but Pat Narduzzi, it doesn't matter who he loses on the D-line. They always produce one of the top defensive lines in the country. Phil Jerkovic comes in from Boston College, gets reunited with his offensive coordinator, Frank Cignetti, who he had great success with 2 years ago. When I talked to Coach Narduzzi, he likes the running backs they have to replace Abanconda. The offensive line is just as good as last year's offensive line, and the schedule is very nice for Pitt as well. They avoid both Clemson and Miami in ACC play, get Florida State at home, get North Carolina at home. I think Pitt could be that surprise team that pops into the ACC title game if it's not Clemson against Florida State.
What do you make of Auburn, Hugh Freeze in his first year there? Do you expect anything out of the Tigers?
Bowl game. I don't think they're going to contend in the West like Auburn fans to. Coming off 5-7 season, get into a bowl game is a first step. Coach Freeze likes some of the units that he has, and some of the units he was sort of wishy-washy on. So I think a bowl game is a good first year for Hugh Freeze.
Can Tennessee follow up a double-digit win season with another really good year? I mean, Butch Jones couldn't put back-to-back years together. Can Heupel and this unit put a back-to-back together?
Joe Moulton, interceptions. That would be the key. If he has a year like Hendon Hooker last year, 27 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, Moulton doesn't turn the ball over. He's got everything you want a quarterback, and they've got a great supporting cast. Keep your eyes on Dante Thornton, the Oregon transfer. I think he's going to be one of the newcomers to the SEC this year and a big-time playmaker. The defense is stronger, and it wouldn't surprise me if Tennessee is 9-1 when they host Georgia on November 18th.
Do the Dogs three-peat?
I did call for it. It's tough. And remember last year, they almost lost to Missouri. And if Ohio State kicks that field goal, we're talking about Ohio State repeat as national champs this year. So Georgia came, got some fortune. They're going to have to get some good fortune this year, but the schedule lays out well. The defense is more experienced and stronger than last year, and I think Carson Beck will be a Heisman candidate by the end of the season. I have him a double-digit favorite in every game except that Tennessee game, where I have him a 7-point favorite. If they win all their games, I think they've got a good shot in the playoff as well. It's tough to three-peat. 1934 to 1936 is the last time it happened, but I did pick Georgia to win it all.
And that were the Golden Gophers of Minnesota who pulled that off 90 years ago. All right. Texas, seemingly always overhyped. Oklahoma coming off a 6-7 season. Are they legit this year?
Yeah, and, the amazing thing I found out about Texas this year, like you said, always overhyped, right? Well, the last time they were picked number 1 in the Big 12 was way back in 2009. So it's actually been 14 years since they've been the number 1 pick in the Big 12. I do think talent-wise they're there. I wanted to pick anybody but Texas to win the Big 12 this year because I figured everybody's going to be gunning for them, and they play a very tough schedule. But on page 138 of the magazine, I've got them rated number 1 or tied for number 1 in all 8 position categories in the Big 12. They are the most talented team. And with Oklahoma going over the squad with Coach Venables, I think the defense will be much improved. He has a complicated defense. It's year 2 for that. He brought in a ton of transfers. He's got his quarterback back in Dylan Gabriel. And believe it or not, guys, in Vegas right now, Oklahoma is actually favored in 11 of their 12 games. So I do think it's Texas-Oklahoma for the Big 12 title game, even though everybody's going to be gunning for him.
Has Clemson slipped talent-wise?
No. And going over the team with Coach Sweeney, you remember that 2018 defensive line, which is one of the best ever in college football? Mm-hmm. He said that this year's defensive line doesn't have the star power of that group, but it's actually deeper in talent and experience. So I made it my number 1 defensive line in the country. I mean, a guy like Peter Woods, a true freshman, is going to come in and make a massive impact. I couldn't find a starting spot for him. Trey Williams, Peyton Page, all these guys, they've got 7 NFL guys right now in the front, in the defensive front. They've got Carter and Trotter back at linebacker. The secondary is loaded. Cade Klubnik is going to have a fine year at quarterback. The offensive line's a veteran group. I've got Clemson favored in all 12 games. Their toughest 2 games are Florida State and Notre Dame. They get them both at home. And Clemson's only lost 1 home game the last 6 years. So I've got Clemson number 2 in the country making a playoff.
All right, very quickly, you mentioned the Irish. Preseason 13 in the AP Top 25. How do you see them?
I've got a blog today on philsteele.com. Check it out. They are my number 1A surprise team. I had expected them to be in the top 10. To be a surprise team, you have to be a non-top 10 team that I think can contend for a playoff spot. And now that they're not a top 10 team, I've thrown them into my surprise team list. The Irish are loaded on defense, loaded on the offensive line, running back, receiver, and they go from having a backup quarterback last year in Drew Pine to one of the best quarterbacks in Sam Hartman. They're also outstanding on special teams. The schedule, they get Ohio State at home early against a young quarterback. They get USC at home in October, and the home team is 8-1 in that series. I've got the Irish as a potential playoff team.
All right, Phil, final minute. Tell everybody where and how they can get your stuff.
As mentioned before, the only brick and mortar stores, and get out there because they're selling out fast, are Books A Million and Barnes & Noble. So don't waste your gas driving around for it. 352 pages, like getting 133 media guides rolled into one. That's Barnes & Noble, Books A Million, or go to philsteele.com. When you order a hard copy, I'm going to charge you shipping, but we give you the digital magazine free, and the digital magazine updated all the way through September. As an example, we have David Braun, the head coach of Notre Dame, not Pat Fitzgerald. And we also have an FCS magazine this year, which is up and available right now. 2 full pages on every FCS team. That's all available right now at philsteele.com. And don't forget to check out my daily blog.
Phil, thanks so much. We really appreciate it every year. Great stuff.
Love talking to you guys. Enjoyed it immensely. Thanks for having me on.
Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network. Seth Everett next.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Hi, Seth.
Yo.
What's happening?
Nothing. Just, enjoying a little overcast here. Big rainstorm yesterday, so, not working this weekend. I'm going on a little mini vacation.
Where are you going?
Yeah, just to my mother-in-law's.
Okay.
I'll have some fun. See what trouble I can cause. Trying to convince her to go to Yankees Red Sox. I can't believe I'm the one having to do the convincing. I was just reading, for the first time, linear television viewership makes up less than half of all TV usage in a measurement month, according to Nielsen.
Really?
In July. The pendulum swung.
Well, I mean, it makes sense. I mean, because think about it. I'm of that age where I'm still a linear guy, and I'm literally dumping this month. I'm in my last month of DirecTV.
Yep.
And I will be a YouTube TV subscriber here in the next 15 days.
In January was the last time I saw the study, and it was 50-50. 2 years ago, I remember I did a podcast on it, and it was 60-30 the other way, or 70-30 the other way. You're seeing the evolution. Interesting. And I'm going to 4 football games, NFL, including Bills Jets on that Monday night.
How'd you weasel your way to cover that?
iHeart asked me. They said non-Sunday games. Would I go? I said sure.
So you're going to be there?
Yeah.
All right. We got to find each other.
Yes, we will. Yep. I'm going there. Then October 2nd, Seahawks Giants. November 6th, Chargers Jets. And December 11th, Packers Giants.
Well,
you'll be at all of them. Yep. What we'll do is we'll write our names edged into like one of the walls in the press area, and we'll see if it stays and they don't paint over it for all 4 games.
That would be a no.
Okay. All right.
I never carved initials into a tree or a sidewalk or...
Did you guys watch the quarterback show?
I did. It got better as it went along.
I'm up to 6, and I'm loving it.
Yeah, it got a lot better because they got rid of it. It wasn't a documentary on the quarterbacks' wives, which the first 3 episodes seemed to be.
Yeah, I mean, to me, the Mariota stuff when he leaves the team is fascinating.
I agree.
And Mahomes fighting with Reed is fantastic. Just it's stuff you know, but you want to see again. I love it. And I want to see the Johnny Manziel one, and I want to see the Victor Conte one, because
I'm fired up to watch the Manziel one.
The my favorite story is Brian McNamee, the guy who was the whistleblower on Roger Clemens, when I was at Capitol Hill, and I'm in the men's room, and I see a guy I recognize, and I at the sink, and I go, "Hey man, how you doing?" And that's Brian McNamee, and I didn't know that's what his name was. I saw him all the time in the clubhouse. I didn't know who that was. I hope all of it's in there. The steroid era was a very, very fun era, but steroids were very, very good to me. Did Phil Steele say anything about Cuse?
No, we didn't ask.
I'll have to have a separate conversation.
Right.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
"22 minutes until the top of the hour. Our final segment along the network in Lake City and surrounding areas, Tampa, St. Pete, Port Charlotte, and Venice. The Diamond District bonus hour awaits at the top of the hour in the 239. We are Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. We always talk to Seth Everett on Wednesdays. We've been talking at this time on Wednesdays. Coming up soon in a couple weeks, we will actually move it up to the top of the hour because we're going to, football guests. We got one of them who needed to go a little later in the show. So Seth, who's always been at around 8:38, is going to move up to 8 o'clock on Wednesdays coming up in a couple weeks' time. We'll see if he can handle it, considering he gets up at like 3 to do news updates around the country. I mean, you're not going to give us too much grief about this, are you?
No, I just have to remember that's going to be the thing. That's the big one's going to be remembering, because I'm going to just show up at 8:38. That's going to be my plan. And then, I've heard that at 8 o'clock you can do a lot more cursing. So I'm looking forward to that.
You're damn right, Seth. You're damn right.
So
I just let those GDs fly from 8 o'clock. That's
I think that when the football season ends, maybe we stay at 8 o'clock. Just if it's comfortable.
How about this? How about if it's based on the over-under of Syracuse football wins, so that this way there will be something for all of us to pay attention to about your alma mater, because they basically don't play the sport anymore.
Yeah, no, I couldn't pony up that in any way. All I know is Syracuse plays Pitt at Yankee Stadium in like November, and I'm gonna go. My favorite things, Yankee Stadium, Syracuse football, it's all my favorite things.
Absolutely. Seth, you said something before we were on the air that I would like you to repeat. You said you read an article talking about television viewership and what has happened here in the last couple of months.
Yeah, I have the article open here. For the first time ever, linear television viewership made up less than half of all TV usage in a measurement month, according to Nielsen.
Now, don't get me wrong, it's significant, but it was also, July? I mean, yeah. It may be the worst television month of the year.
No. But it's a trend. It's, that same report came out in January, and it was 50-50. July of last year, it was, I think it was 55-45. I don't have the numbers in front of me.
Right.
But, and when it first became something that I was aware of, I remember it was 70-30. 30% of streaming was coming, and it was just this pendulum that was just swinging, and it's not going back. So yeah, July is a bad television month and all that stuff. But with streaming, it's not a bad television month. There have been fantastic shows coming out. And the thing, and this ties into the strikes, there hasn't been a dearth of programming. These streaming services are throwing these shows at you, and we can't see enough stuff. There's not enough hours in the day to see all the things that are out there. And if I were the streaming services, I'd pace myself a little more. I would just release them a little bit less. Now, David, to your comment, network television is in a state where that has rarely been seen. As a matter of fact, networks are taking streaming shows like Yellowstone, like Ms. Marvel, and they're going to edit them for TV purposes, throw in commercials, and they're going to air them. The networks, if you are at a network non-news job, get out. Go to a streaming service. Just don't, because it's a scary, scary landscape right now. And cost cutting, like if we talk about radio cost cutting all over the country, network television is cost cutting everywhere.
Okay, then if you were running a sports league like the Pac-12, and they are dissolving because of it, but the best package they could put together was an exclusive streaming package. Put it this way, if you were the athletic director of a school and somebody came to you with that, would you go, well, it's the future, and the future may be Friday, okay? Or would you go, come on, no, it's too soon?
I thought the Pac-12, it was too soon, especially considering they weren't overpaying. You know, one thing Andy Staples said in the podcast that's being released in the next hour or so for Sports with Friends is that Apple comes out and tries to blow the Pac-12 away with money that was like Big 12 money. It wasn't special. And there wasn't anything that says, leave the linear networks and go to Apple. What we also discussed,
which, by the way, is what Apple did with the MLS.
With the MLS,
the Apple blew the MLS away as opposed to Fox and ESPN, and so the MLS took a 10-year, Apple Plus only deal.
That's right. And so now you're in this position where, yes, streaming services are going to have to get involved. If you want to fast forward to the next television contracts, let's just use the two A-level conferences, the Big Ten and the SEC. They are going to need, as linear television becomes less relevant, they are going to need some kind of supplement. They will have to do like what the NBA is trying to do, what the NFL does brilliantly, and have multiple networks, and streaming services are going to have to be a part of that. Apple, Amazon, ESPN Plus, they're going to have to be a part of all of that. That's where I think that the next rung, it was too soon for the Pac-12. The Pac-12 needed the exposure on linear television. They couldn't be the only conference that wasn't going to be on either ESPN or Fox. But in 5 years, that might not be the situation, because right now, the pendulum just swung. What's it going to be? And we're not talking 5-10 years down the road. We're talking 4 years down the road, 3 years down the road. And as linear gets less and less and less, these networks have to maintain some level of viewership, and the viewership is going to be on these devices.
Do rights fees continue to go up with that being said, Seth? Because
that's where
are astronomical.
Well, in order for the Big Ten, let's just use the Big Ten as the example. If the Big Ten is getting X, in order for them to make their X next time, it's going to have to be part of X is going to have to come from ESPN or CBS or Fox, but part of it's going to have to come from an Amazon or Apple. And yeah, your main 3:30 Saturday game might still be on CBS, but the other game might be on Apple Plus on Saturday night.
Well, and this may be a little too inside
not in 2023.
Baseball, but what the NBA is counting on, Seth, is that the declining linear viewers, that these networks actually the sports viewer is more valuable than ever before. It is the only rating and viewership that these networks can promise to advertisers. Right. We are there. We're consistent. In fact, I mean, like the FedEx Cup golf tournament just did like the highest first round of the FedEx Cup playoffs rating in the last 6 years the other day. It was
Lucas Glover winning the damn tournament.
Yeah, over Patrick Cantlay. Okay, but sports is delivering. And so what the NBA is counting on here is that whether it's ESPN, Turner, NBC, whoever, they're asking for 3 times the money. Yep. What they got in their last TV deal, even though we're presenting all this evidence that says that either A, you've lost 30 million cord cutters if you're a cable channel, but also B, there's over 50% of the audience is now watching on streaming, but sports maybe not so.
It's fascinating because you have all of these networks that are or all of these conferences that are expecting certain money. Look at what the ACC did with, they had a deal with Sinclair. Remember Sinclair? That's the RSNs that are all going bankrupt. They had a deal for their non-ACC network or ESPN games, and they were farmed out. Cuse games used to be on the Yes Network and MSG and all these random networks, and now they're all going to be on the CW because what the CW promises is households. That's what they promised. And then for the ACC, they said, for now, that works. That worked. And that was a B-level contract, a B-level deal. And all it means is that for people like me who are going to look for the loser games, we have to go find our local CW affiliate.
Seth, I'll text you every Saturday morning around because I'm going to be one of those loser teams this year as well. I'll send you a text about 11:50 in the morning on Saturday, and we'll figure out where the hell our games are at.
They track, clicks on all articles, newspaper websites and such. My buddy at Syracuse.com said by far the number one clicked on story that they do tons of journalism is what time and what channel is the game on. They put that on, they get thousands of clicks.
By the way, Syracuse over under 6.5 for football. So it's not awful, just so you know. I mean, 6.5 is not awful.
I know where I'm putting my money. Hey, listen, I hope so. I'll break out my Syracuse clothes. I'll be ready to go. I'll watch the games too. I'm a fan. I watch. I support the team.
Oh no, we know.
If I can find them.
Right. Well, listen, CW, there were actually a few people who were reaching out to me over the weekend because Mickelson was contending in that LIV event. And there are still some Mickelson fans and people are like, CW, where do I get the CW? I'm like, well, I don't think you can get it on DirecTV. My co-host.
You say you didn't watch Gilmore Girls?
Exactly.
Smallville? Come on.
Exactly. So anyway.
All right, Seth, sports with friends, Hall of Justice. What do you got?
Sports with friends. Andy Staples, he came on about last year at this time when UCLA and USC announced they were leaving. We did a whole realignment thing, and we just did the whole thing all over again. So I figure I'll have him on once a year. But every time college football does a colossal shakeup, he'll come on. He really wants to come back on Hall of Justice. That's all he wanted to talk about was how he wants to come on Hall of Justice. He's given me all kinds of options on things he can review and things like that. But he was great on college football. For Hall of Justice, it's a young lady. She's older than me. Maria Canals Barrera. She played Hawkgirl in the Justice League animated series. She's the 6th of 7 Justice League voices that I've had on the show, and it turns out she's Cuban, and she knew my cousin growing up, and we played the epitome of Jewish geography, but Cuban Jewish geography, and to be honest, we call them Cuban Jewish geography. So Maria Canals Barrera on the Hall of Justice, she played Hawkgirl in the Justice League animated show.
As you were saying all that, I was thinking to myself, I think I want Seth to start swearing. I think that would be better.
8 o'clock.
That's
the plan.
subject matter on a podcast that can get away with a little bit better than on commercial radio. Yep.
Well, we do podcasts.
No, I understand.
Pretty popular.
I would like to congratulate you. We've been doing this show, 17 years, 3 different acts. It's the first time anyone's ever said Jubin on our show. So
I think Seth is responsible for a lot of first-time words on the show.
I agree.
One thing
You've never heard Jubin?
No, I've heard it. It's never been said on this show before.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So keep saying it's
my father was born in Havana. I'm a Jubin.
He's Seth Everett, Sports with Friends Hall of Justice. He's a Jubin. Follow him on Twitter at Seth_Everett. Seth_Everett. And this could be our last show. So it'd be fitting that Seth was our last guest. Thanks, Seth.
Adios, muchachos.
I knew that was coming. And
our Cuban producer over here is just looking at me like, what in the hell are you guys even doing right now?
Don't even know if I can go home and say that in my house. Right.
I will say the term that he said, it's quite rare.
I'm not really? Say it. You think so? You think?
I mean, I've never met one.
You have now.
Yeah, you have. No, you're staring right at him.
You have now.
Yeah. In fact, I can't wait till you go home to your parents or grandparents and go, hey, guys, have you ever heard some of the stuff those old guys that I'm working with are teaching us?
They've got a guest on the show from Jersey. He says he's Jubin.
He's Jubin.
Do you know any?
Yeah. Where's that neighborhood in Cuba?
Or in Miami, for that matter.
Yeah. Is that uptown to the left? Where is that?
And what are they serving for lunch?
For the record, we had Phil Steele on before Seth. He says the most underrated team in the country might be Texas A&M. That during the Twitch part of our interview, he said, and he doesn't think Deion and Colorado, they're going to have a rough year. If for no other reason than the schedule is very challenging.
And most of the players weren't even on the roster when he was doing the magazine. They had to, keep updating Colorado because most of his players weren't there for spring ball. So they're changing and constantly doing this on the fly. So it will be tough for the Buffalo. Miller and Moulton, Tampa St. Pete, Port Charlotte, Venice, Lake City. We'll do it all over again tomorrow morning. In the 239, the Diamond District bonus hour is next.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
20 years ago, Jason and I had the idea for a jewelry store like no other, with a vast selection of certified diamonds priced 8 to 12% over cost. A team of individuals who are educated, driven, and believe in cultivating relationships.
Today, we have become one of the largest independent jewelry stores in the country. Todd and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day, along with our GIA gemologists, master jewelers, custom designers, and non-commissioned diamond consultants, all of which we consider family.
As direct diamond importers, we travel the world, forging relationships and sourcing diamonds. What we love most about our business is that we can call Southwest Florida our home.
If selection, value, and comfort are important to you, give the Diamond District an opportunity. You won't find a better diamond buying experience. Todd and I look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
at the Diamond District.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Fan forever, yes. We did that game. A&M's upset of Alabama. And then we did the season opener between the two in College Station the next year when him and Mike Evans were amazing, but Bama won. Anyway. Well, yeah, the CW dispute with DirecTV ends in like October, apparently. There's a chance for them to do a deal in a couple months.
Yeah, we can do fantasy. We can do DraftKings, all that stuff. You just can't wager on games. They somehow be able to BS people that fantasy is a game of skill.
And I'll let Mark and Felipe answer how was the Fantasy Football Summit last night.
It was very good. Really happy with the room. Really happy with the room, David. Not even joking. It was that other room so damn small, and the way they have to come in and out of it to serve you is hard. Like they came in from the basically the kitchen and the bowels of the building, if you will. The service entrance. It just made life a lot easier. I think for them too. I think it was a lot easier for the servers.
Yeah, for sure. Burger was good too. Some potato skins. I love potato skins.
There were no low carb choices on the menu for me.
Oh no.
It was a Moulton menu. It was high carb.
Yes.
Yes, it was. Thank you very much.
Couldn't have thrown a salad on there.
He was there in spirit through the
He
menu.
was.
Yeah.
So I got to tell a quick story about the Fantasy Summit. That there was one part of it that I think was funny.
Good. Okay.
Here we go.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
It is the Diamond District bonus hour of Miller and Moulton. Thanks so much for being with us. A night after the Fantasy Football Summit, or morning after it, I should say, presented by the law firm Michael F. Hornung, which, well, it was another rousing success. We thank those of you who signed up and took part, and for those that don't, telling you, a friend of ours, former producer John Cassio, went for the first time and said, man, it was amazing. That the information that I got out of this, he goes, it's unparalleled. And we're like, well, that's what we're trying to tell people.
Much like our Phil Steele interview, in which we are going rapid fire from team to team, and there is no way for Phil to have notes in front of him to answer the questions we are asking. It's impossible. Outside of the beginning of the interview when he knows we're going Florida schools. He can be ready for the Florida schools. But we went from Florida schools to MAC, Big 10, Big 12, national title contenders, overrated teams, underrated teams, and it just keeps coming out. Oregon State, it didn't matter. There was a point last night when Dr. Roto was breaking down the Arizona Cardinal wide receiver room in which John Cassio looked at me and went, what the hell is he talking about right now?
That's the team that's on the clock.
Right. So great night, but one of the things I found fun about last night, and I probably should have asked more questions, but he had to bail early. Two brothers came, I would say around 30, maybe a little older, maybe a little younger. I can't tell anymore, David. But one of them had the daughter in tow, a toddler.
Right.
About 3-4 years old. Based on her wanting to grab the phone, crying a little bit, and not having enough of her toys with her. But because he left her, the daughter finally hit the wall, and it was time to go to bed, and he bailed probably 10 minutes before we were done. But obviously, either the wife had to work or just said, you want to go to the summit, you're bringing the kid, I don't know what to tell you.
Right.
Tuesday's your night, it's not my night.
Right.
And so we did have the toddler in there taking in all the information. She should win her league this year.
In fact, Dad may be consulting her to set his lineup. What do you think of this move? No, I'd go with the other guy, Dad.
And David, Steeler Nation is everywhere. Steeler fan-led fandom in the room, if you know what I mean.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah. Jersey, we had a Jack Lambert jersey inside the room last night.
There we go. 40 years old. All right. Career ended by turf toe, by the way. Basically, Deion's career was ended by turf toe also. So, a little tidbit there. 220-pound middle linebacker back in the day, Mark. And maybe the most ferocious guy in the league. 220 middle linebacker. Right. It's a little different now. Just a little bit. Mm-hmm. So, glad it went well, though. And, my contribution was the menu.
There were not any low-carb items on the menu, David. I was looking for them last night, and basically it was an overload of carbs. And I went, Moulton set this menu. There's nothing for me to eat here.
You were really wanting a salad? Seriously?
It's not a matter of want. It's a matter of what I'm going to eat. What I want every day is a large pizza.
I want a hamburger. I want a cheeseburger.
Yes, that's it. But then I step on that scale in the morning and go, you know what would be good for me? A salad once in a while.
First off, what are you doing stepping on a scale in the morning? That's your first mistake. What the heck? Come on now. And then don't look in the mirror either. What do you need to do that for? Come on now.
Don't have to. All I've got to do is put on clothes in the morning and go, yeah, burger probably wouldn't be the right thing for me to eat tonight.
Oh, sure it would. Come on. At this stage of the game, come on. The battle's been lost. I mean, just acceptance can create happiness, Mark. Shane McClanahan has to accept that he's having Tommy John surgery. He's out for the year. The Rays still have pitching. They really do. And let's face it, we had a 6 seed come within 2 games of winning the World Series last year. I mean, if the Rays got in a best of 3 that right now they would host. I mean, think about it right now. You're in the 4-5 in the American League. You're the Rays. You're going to play Houston. Not going to be easy. But, I mean, the baseball playoffs aren't easy. I mean, think about it. Last year, the NLCS was the 5 seed against the 6 seed. The 3 teams that won 100 or more games all got beat before the LCS in these best of 3, best of 5 series. In a best of 3, best of 5, the Rays couldn't beat Houston, then they'd go to Baltimore. You sure they can't beat the Orioles in a best of 5?
David, they can. I think the team we're all sleeping on is Texas. Because the bats are just crushing it. And then I didn't know if the arms would be good enough, but they added this guy at the deadline that may help a little bit.
Yeah, Max Scherzer. He's doing okay. They've won every game he started. He threw a 1-hitter for 7 innings the other day. Listen, I don't want to say Scherzer's different or anything, but did you see his reaction at the end of the first inning in the start? So he's got the first 2 guys out, and he's ahead of the batter 1 and 2. And for whatever reason, the batter took too long getting ready. So strike 3. That's it. You're out. And Scherzer's standing on the mound. He looks at the umpire, and he's like, seriously? You're going to call this guy out for that? And he flips the ball, like sarcastically, if you can, like over his shoulder walking off the mound. Like, seriously? That we're calling guys out for that? That's ridiculous. Home plate umpire's looking at him like, dude, it benefits you. Scherzer's barking at him. That's ridiculous. Come on. That's who you're dealing with on the mound there.
And I give, Houston's come at Texas. Got it to within a half game at one point, and Texas has responded, and the bats are delivering. They can score some damn runs.
Defending World Series champions. Hell of a run here. They made the playoffs for the first time in 2015. Actually had the Royals beat, who went on to win the World Series. Had them beat. They were up 2-1 in a best of 5 and had a 4-run lead in the 8th of game 4. And let it get away. And then, well, they said, this isn't going to happen again. We got to start cheating. I just want to say it again. The Yankees are 500, and I am not, happy for that. I actually like it when the Yankees do well. All right. I'm not a Yankees fan, but I don't dislike the Yankees at all. I've always admired them. How could you not? And growing up in the Northeast, I could watch Mets or Yankees games, and I didn't just, not watch the Yankees. Oh, I'm a Mets fan. I never thought they were rivals. I've never believed. When George Steinbrenner got mad when they lost, they used to call it the Mayor's Trophy game, Mark. They'd play once in spring training or 3 times, and whoever won the spring series won the Mayor's Trophy. Steinbrenner nearly fired a manager one year for not winning the Mayor's Trophy. What are you doing? Who cares? But the Yankees are 500 in mid-August, and it just bears repeating. The last time the Yankees were 500 in mid-August, Jeter was a rookie. Bill Clinton was in his first term as president. There was no eBay. There was no Google. Tupac was alive. It's 28 years ago. The last time the Yankees had the audacity to be 500 in August.
Standards are just a little higher there, David.
The irony is that team would rally, finish on a run, and make the playoffs. This team bearing no resemblance to that one right now.
No, David, it's been, after the 50-20 start last year, They have been a 500 baseball team.
They went 49-43 to end the season last year, so they finished with 99 wins. Pretty gaudy, right? But as we pointed out, it was basically 500 for the last 60% of the season. And now here they are, mid-August, they're 500.
It's a lot like what Tampa's done this year.
Tampa was 50-20, right? Now, I don't quite know if they were as good as the Yankees.
They weren't as good, but they were in that ballpark.
But they are, I think, a couple games below 500 over their last, since June 1st. So there's that. 6.5 weeks left in the baseball season. Oh, by the way, 10 days till the college football season kicks off with USC and Notre Dame in action. How about Phil Steele? Thinks Notre Dame could make the playoff this year. They're preseason 13 in the AP poll.
Well, as he pointed out, they get Ohio State early.
At home.
Get them at home.
And Ohio State's breaking in a new quarterback. And they also get USC at home in mid-October. Just saying. By the way, Stanford and Cal apparently are still trying to get into the ACC. Don't know whose vote they're going to change. I mean, it must be North Carolina's, because NC State has pretty much said whatever North Carolina votes, that's how we're going to vote. And obviously, Florida State and Clemson are no's. So I guess Stanford's working on North Carolina.
Okay.
I mean,
how much does North Carolina want to save the conference? And
right.
Is this what's necessary to do it?
I don't see this as the move to save the conference. But if North Carolina were to change their thinking, maybe it's North Carolina's way of letting the Big Ten know they're not interested. $75 million a year versus like $30 million a year? Huh. But they are the heart and soul of that conference. I mean, they are. North Carolina leaves, the conference is dead. Once
Dead.
USC left the Pac-12, it was over. It's just a matter of time.
And we understand Florida State, better football program. Clemson, better football program. North Carolina is the heart and soul of the ACC. It just is.
Yeah, I mean, take Alabama out of the SEC. Now, the conference is so strong, it would survive. But just imagine if you took Alabama out of the SEC in football. I mean, it's kind of a big loss.
It's taking Texas and Oklahoma out of the Big 12. No offense. What's it look like after? Is it really as good?
That would be a no. Yet they're still getting $32 million a year cash. That's all that matters.
What a great job that he did.
Yep.
Saving
your mark. No doubt about it.
Miller and Moulton. Thanks for listening. Florida Sports Network.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung has successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida for over 30 years. As a former prosecutor, the information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, a criminal matter, or involved in an auto accident, call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. I'm a local attorney with local knowledge to assist you through the process. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Offices in Fort Myers.
The waterways of Naples are a beauty to behold, and the Bayfront Inn has multiple ways for guests to enjoy the water and have some fun. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill, the Bayfront Inn. Something for everyone. On 5th Avenue in Naples.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
John, no. I think the earliest the Hard Rock app will fire up will be late September. The way it was explained to us is this latest appeal is going to be denied, and probably quickly, within a month. And then while Wes Flagler tries to get the Supreme Court to hear the case, that's when the Hard Rock app will fire up late September, maybe into October, and they'll do sports betting until if and when the Supreme Court decides to hear the appeal.
Interesting point here on week 0. The ESPN primetime game week 0. Do you know what it is?
It's awful.
UMass and New Mexico State. It'll do a bigger number than USC. They're on the Pac-12 network.
Who's USC got? Like San Jose State or something like that?
State.
Well, John, what was explained to us is that, yeah, when they fire up, we'll get the run until whenever it is the Supreme Court says they're going to, yeah, well, okay, we'll hear that appeal. Now, I don't know when the Supreme Court decides what cases they're going to hear. You know, do they do that in October, November, December? Do they wait till after the first of the year? I don't know. But Daniel Wallach thinks we are going to get a run during the football season. He thinks the Supreme Court is going to hear the appeal.
Welcome to the bonus hour, brought to you by Jason and Todd at the Diamond District. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Good, bad, and ugly. What's on tap? Today was the day when. Final thoughts. All coming up in a little less than 20 minutes' time. The Diamond District bonus hour edition of Miller and Moulton. Thanks so much for being with us. Todd and Jason, they had a big promotion last week and weekend. They got anything going on now, Mark, or it's just, good prices, good service, that sort of deal?
It's the same thing that it's always been for 20 years. Great prices, great service. Stop in and see them. Tell them Miller and Moulton sent you. One of them's always there. One of them's back fishing. The other one's waiting for that Hard Rock app to reestablish itself.
I think there's a chance also you start seeing them when you go wearing their jerseys. Okay, they got the fever. They're still jersey wearing guys.
I don't know. So I don't know about that anymore because
really?
Jason has developed a bigger love than just his Miami teams.
Good for him.
He likes maybe more than just watching the game.
Right. Well, maybe he'll wear his, I don't know, the Hard Rock app jersey. Maybe
exactly.
He'll wear that.
That's what I'm saying.
Hey, I know this is early, and this could really come back to bite me for bringing this up. But, Mark, let's face it, you and I both, we're a little stubborn. And when we think we're right about something, okay, every now and then we just want to remind people that, hey, you guys make fun of us when we're wrong all the time. But, in this instance, maybe we were right. I was one of those, and Mark, I think you were too, but you were a little more concerned than I am because let's face it, I love my divas, and I'm willing to take more chances with the draft than you are. But I loved me some Jalen Carter. And I wanted to take Jalen Carter. In fact, my thinking was, unless you need a quarterback and you're taking one of these guys, if you ain't taking a quarterback, then you better be taking Jalen Carter because he's the best damn player in the draft.
All right.
Quarterbacks included. That was my view. Remember, Houston had picks 2 and 3 there, and they went quarterback Will Anderson. And I was saying, what the hell are they taking Will Anderson for? Good player. Very good player, who, by the way, is apparently having a great camp. Apparently he's terrific. D'Amico Ryans loves him. Great. I hope he's fantastic. I don't root for anybody to not be good.
Nope.
I don't want busts. But the best offensive line in the NFL is the Philadelphia Eagles. And apparently they can't block Jalen Carter. That's all I'm saying. Because, he got fat after the season was over. Yeah, he partied a little bit. And now guess what? It's time to be a pro. And he's around all his Georgia boys with the Eagles. And apparently Jalen Carter is back to being a man.
In football shape, huh? Ready to go.
Yeah. Kind of like what he was in the SEC title game when he blew through that LSU line and grabbed the quarterback with one arm and held him up in the air and said, does this count as a sack? So apparently that's what Jalen Carter's doing, and he's doing it also to all the teams they're scrimmaging to. Like, apparently they had to take him off the field yesterday. They're like, listen, we can't get anything done with you here. Okay, could you just grab some water, chill out? You're doing fine. So I'm just going to say Seattle took a corner at 5. Kid from Illinois, we all like. Good player. Good player. Could have Jalen Carter. Arizona said, listen, we need a tackle. And they do. Their offensive line's horrible. But it's not like their defensive line's any good either. So they took Paris Johnson from Ohio State. Just saying. By the way, do you know who was picking sixth and traded out? The Detroit Lions.
Yes, I know.
Uh-huh. Now,
where are they? But where are Detroit Lions weak?
Defense.
Yes.
They drafted Hutchinson there to rush the passer last year. Imagine if the guy who lined up to his right was, wait for it, Jalen Carter. But no, it was an interesting trade. They went down 6 spots, and they got an early second-round pick, and they drafted the tight end from Iowa, who apparently, everybody's raving about him. Okay, great. Once again, I hope every player is terrific. But Jalen Carter was the best player in the draft. If Jalen Carter had his act together, Jalen Carter was the best player in the draft, period. It's like Marvin Harrison Jr. next year. And he's not going to go first overall. Mark, who's the best player in college football this year?
Marvin Harrison Jr.
Yes, he is. He's the best.
And
player.
David, the Eagles now have kind of taken the mantle from the Ravens. Not that the Ravens draft badly, but there was about a 10-year period in which crap just happened. Hey, this guy has a bad character flaw that isn't really a character flaw, but we think it is. Where does he fall to? The Baltimore Ravens. And they sit there at pick 17 and come up with another stud. It certainly seems that the Eagles are drafting in the 2020s like the Ravens were drafting in the 2000s, David.
So Seattle could have taken Jalen Carter, took the corner. Detroit could have stayed at 6, taken Jalen Carter, trades out. Then at 12, hell, they're still in position maybe to trade up and grab him again. Now they hang tight at 12 and they take the running back from Alabama. They're raving about this guy. This guy's going to be uncoverable. Alvin Kamara with speed. I hope so. And they got the tight end in the second round because of it. Okay. I hope it works out. Raiders at 7 could add Jalen Carter, and they go for a defensive lineman. And they take Tyree Wilson from Texas Tech. I'm sorry. Had any of you heard of Tyree Wilson before the draft?
And when you think of a conference to go grab defensive linemen, do you think Big 12?
Just
ever?
Yes, we're holding a bias against the pick. We are. Falcons are there at 8. Come on. The kid played at Georgia, for goodness sakes. And they took the running back instead, Bijan Robinson. Hey, best running back in the draft.
Well, a lot of people said if it wasn't Carter, that Robinson was the best player in the draft, David. Right. You have to at least understand that concession there.
Right. And so they take the best running back in the draft. Some people had him rated the best player in the draft. Okay. And then the Bears. And I loved but the Bears were at 9, the Eagles were at 10. And the Eagles finally said, listen, we want to swap. And the Bears apparently weren't going to take Jalen Carter. So they're like, hey, yeah, sure, fine. We'll take a mid-round draft pick. Swap. And so the Eagles moved up 1 spot and took Jalen Carter, but the Bears could have had him. They could have stayed put at 9 and had Jalen Carter. Now, I love the guy they drafted. They drafted the tackle Darnell White from Tennessee, who I watched block Will Anderson all day, one-on-one, and Will Anderson did nothing. 70 snaps, he did nothing against this guy. I love the pick. But the best offensive line in the NFL can't block Jalen Carter so far. Now, this come back to haunt me. It's mid-August. I could have just made a fool of myself. But let me tell you, for about 6 teams and players that we just mentioned, I hope something goes wrong for your sake with Jalen Carter. Because otherwise, you're going to have a hard time explaining how the hell you just passed on Aaron Donald. Only bigger.
And like I said before, here are the Eagles not having to do a whole hell of a lot once again in the draft to make their team much better.
And like Yinzer points out in our Twitch chat room, it was Warren Sapp all over again. Remember, Sapp fell to 12. Vikings at 11 needed a defensive lineman. We're going to take a defensive lineman. Took a defensive lineman. Derek Alexander, Florida State. They looked around at one another and said, I don't care if he is smoking weed. We got to take him. Nobody can block him.
So just a little early revisionist history of the draft and how things worked out for one team and may not have worked out for a few others. The good, the bad, and the ugly. Today was a day when and what's on tap. It's how we finish things out of the bonus hour, Miller and Moulton.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Welcome to the bonus hour, brought to you by Jason and Todd at the Diamond District. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network. Wrapping things up on a Wednesday. If you missed any of the show, go to floridasportsnetwork.com to download what you missed. That includes Phil Steele and Seth Everett in the 8 o'clock hour. Time to get after it.
It's time for someone to take back this segment, if for no other reason than to stop David from talking about Meghan and Harry. Here's Mark Miller with Today Was the Day When.
1947 we start. Not a lot happened today, David, but some fun tidbits. Ralph Kiner hits 3 successive home runs for the Pirates as they win 12-7 over the Cardinals. It would be a record 10 home runs in that game between the Pirates and the Cardinals. Today in 62, Pete Best out, Ringo in.
That seemed to work out pretty well.
It really did for everybody but Pete Best.
Right.
Today in 1965, the AFL ninth franchise is officially awarded to Joe Robbie. The Dolphins would start play in 66. Second day of Woodstock today in 69. Santana, The Dead, CCR, Janis, The Who, Jefferson Airplane, among those who played today.
Day 2, huh?
Yeah.
That's not a bad day 2.
Listen to an interview with John Fogerty talking about playing Woodstock, and they did it after The Dead. And they didn't come on until about 4 a.m. because The Dead had all dropped acid and had about a 45-minute break in which they just didn't do anything but stand out there. And Fogerty talking about coming out at like 2, 3, and 4 a.m. playing. He says, there's one guy out there with a lighter because I was playing to him. Everybody else is sound asleep. Dave Stockton won the PGA at Southern Hills today in 1970, beating Arnie by 2. The Ramones debuted at CBGB's in New York today in 1974. Peter Gabriel announces departure from the group Genesis today in 75, which has Felipe asking who's Genesis and who's Peter Gabriel. Dave Stockton would win his second PGA today in 76, this time won over Ray Floyd. 1986, Madonna on top of the world. Her album True Blue is number 1. Her single Papa Don't Preach is number 1. 92, Nick Price wins the PGA.
And, of course, Daly got in the 91 PGA because Nick Price was a late withdrawal. So Daly wins the 91 PGA. Nick Price, who had not won the PGA yet, wins it the very next year.
98, VJ wins the PGA, beating Steve Stricker by 2.
His first major.
Today in 2003, Cristiano Ronaldo made his debut for Manchester United. He was 18 years old. Today in 2008, Michael Phelps wins his 7th of 8 gold medals at the Beijing Games when he wins the 100-meter butterfly on an Olympic record. That same day, Usain Bolt set a new world record in the 100-meter. 2009, at Hazeltine, Yang Young beats Tiger for the PGA.
Y.E. Yang, right?
Yeah, Y.E. Yang. I'm sorry.
It was the first time Tiger had blown a lead in the final round of a major. And it's not like Yang played well. I think Yang shot over par, but Tiger shot like 75 or 77. I mean, it was first time Tiger fell apart. And then, of course, 3 months later, well, Tiger backed out of his driveway and got attacked by a 9-iron. And, well, we know the rest.
Today in 2015, Jason Day wins the PGA. And in 2018, Brandt Snedeker shot a 59 at the opening round of the Wyndham in Greensboro. And it was a year ago that the Phillies, beating the Reds, become the 9th MLB team to 10,000 franchise victories. The last of those to do so that were founded in the 19th century. They were the first to lose 10,000 games. They had done that 15 years earlier. Amos Alonzo Stagg Lawrence of Arabia, Menachem Begin, and Frank Gifford all born today. Kathy Lee Gifford is 70. James Cameron is 69. Madonna and Angela Bassett are 65. Stephen Carroll is 61. Eddie Olczyk, 57. Ryan Longwell, 47. Yu Darvish, 37. And Will Zalatoris is 27 years old today. What did I miss, David?
Actually, you missed a few biggies. Babe Ruth died on this day in 1948. It's not as big a deal anymore. Sports Illustrated made its debut today in 54. And Elvis died today in 77. It is the only time, because my mother was working, she was doing the visiting nurses, and she worked a full day. And she heard the news driving home on the radio. And it is the only time my mother came home and basically said to me, stay away from me. She came home. We were in a 2-bedroom apartment. She had her room. I had mine. And she walked in and I went, hi. And she went, hi. I need some time. And she went in her room and I didn't see her for 3 hours. She came back out. We ate dinner at like 8. My mom just needed some time. My mom at the time was about to turn, well, she was the same age as Elvis at the time. Elvis died at 42. Actually, no, my mom was 32.
I was going to say, yeah.
No. So.
Yeah, because our moms are the same age. So that there's a.
So that's the only time. You know how, like I said to my wife and daughter that during the Giants playoff game, I need some time where I'm not your husband or father right now. It's the only time my whole life in which my mother basically said, I can't be your mom right now. I need a couple hours.
Was the king.
Exactly. Hey, listen, don't laugh. I've told you, if the news comes about Springsteen and we're on the air, I'm going to have a problem. I'm going to need some time.
He's going to go down in the middle of a set.
Middle of a 3-hour show in Madrid.
Exactly.
Right?
He's going to spontaneously combust.
I just hope it happens in Jersey. If it happens, that's all. I'll allow it to be the Garden across the Hudson. That's about it.
You've heard folks elsewhere mock Florida is gonna Florida. Well, Mark Miller sees it differently. He calls it the good, the bad, and the ugly. What you got, Mark?
For the good, Tahoe, because they have finally apprehended Hank the Tank. Hank the Tank is a large black bear who apparently is responsible for 28 home break-ins. The animal has, since February of 2022, that one single bear has been the cause of 152 reports of conflict behavior, including 28 home break-ins. They thought it was a male, but it turns out Hank the Tank, much like Rufus the Bulldog, is a female. For the bad, we go to Boston. At the Italian food emporium Italy, nice name, Alice Cohen was going to get a free sample, and she slipped on a piece of prosciutto and fell. She's now suing the Italy in Boston for the loose piece of ham. Her medical expenses, including a hospital visit and physical therapy, have resulted in more than $7,500 in bills. She, of course, is seeking $50,000 in damages.
Okay. Honestly.
You stayed silent the whole thing. I don't know what, I mean.
All right. There's like a part of me that wants to take a piece of ham and throw it on the floor and try to slip on it. I don't think I've ever worn a pair of shoes that would slip on a piece of ham.
Do you know how thin they cut prosciutto? Do you know if she's wearing any kind of shoe, it's going right through the ham?
Doesn't it just crush the ham? I mean, come on, like that sole doesn't get straight to the floor. You really, honestly, I would want to recreate it in court. You really slipped on a piece of prosciutto.
I'm seeing
I would want to take all 12 members of the jury and go, no, I got 12 pieces of prosciutto here. All of you. I want you to try to slip on a piece of prosciutto. Come on.
You must acquit. Finally, the ugly. We go to Ohio, where firefighters were dispatched last week about a home fire. They thought lightning may have caused the damages, but now video obtained from inside the home shows that might be changed, because now it shows two men with a gas container pouring fuel on the floor of a bedroom, and then they light it. They've not caught the two men who entered the home yet, but now lightning has been ruled out for the home fire. And that is the good, the bad, and the ugly on today, August the 16th, 2023.
So there's only 2 afternoon baseball games. One of them nobody cares about. That's the Pirates and the Mets. Although the Mets, for some reason, are favored. And they are sending a pitcher to the hill who shouldn't be in the majors. How in the world are they favored? Guy's ERA is almost 6. But the Rays are playing, a matinee, but they're out in Frisco, so it's 3:45 local time. Savale for Tampa Bay to wrap up the series against the Giants. Hey, nice little pitching matchup in Miami tonight. Verlander, Luzardo. Astros a slight favorite against Miami in the rubber game of that 3-game series. So there's a couple other afternoon games. Tigers, Twins, Diamondbacks, Rockies. But don't know how much interest there is. Although Twins, still up 3.5 in the Central.
And the Guardians can't win.
No, they did last night.
Really special.
But no, Cleveland needs a run here. And don't know if they have it in them. But they traded away their second best starting pitcher at the deadline when they were like 2 back. I mean, that's management's way of saying we don't take us all that seriously. So why should you?
Where are you going to go?
Exactly. So that's what we got going on. By the way, it's Inter Miami, Nashville, in Nashville, Saturday night for this
Leagues Cup.
Right, whatever. In-season championship that they're doing.
Get used to it. It's coming to the NBA, David. You talked about it earlier.
I know. Of course, it's coming in November and December. If they play basketball in the middle of the football season, did it really happen? I mean, it's the whole tree falling in a forest. I mean, did it really happen if nobody heard it or saw it? That's the other reason why they're doing this. It's a cash grab, and it's trying to get some ratings during the heart of football season. I have an idea. How about if you wait out football season? How about if you start on Christmas? Crazy idea, I know.
It does nothing for me, but I already know, I can see the cross-eyed look we're getting from our producer who thinks this will be the greatest tournament of any tournament ever played.
Well, I don't know about all that. This one does seem a little more peculiar than other things they've tried before.
He's a big hoops guy, so I know he's going to give it a chance. But even he is looking. I mean, think about how not well this is being perceived. If Felipe is looking at Adam Silver kind of like, what you talking about, Willis? Okay, that Felipe about the NBA, who basically bathes in the NBA.
It's very simple. If you're Adam Silver, you need to go into this with one mindset only. Hey, superstars, you're going to play in this, okay?
They're laughing hysterically.
Might as well be a rookie tournament. By the time this gets said and done.
Honestly, like this.
Be a futures game.
They're all making between 30 and 60 million a year. They're not playing regular season games. You want them to play an in-season tournament game?
Get Jimmy Butler to take this seriously, and then we'll talk.
Jimmy Butler doesn't take the league seriously until they get to April.
Exactly. 8th seed. It's okay. Are we in? Yeah.
We'll see. Anyway, NBA schedule, by the way, gets announced tomorrow afternoon for Felipe and 4 of his friends there who are interested in that. And there you go. That's what we got going on.
We say it often, but if you miss any of the show, floridasportsnetwork.com to download what you missed. Phil Steele did a half hour with us this morning, breaking down as many college football teams as we could get to in that time. And he's got Georgia three-peating.
I know. I'm shocked. I mean, come on now. New quarterback alone, right? I mean, Stetson Bennett, you could argue, is the second most important football player in Georgia history.